Anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
He's just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Cities across the country are struggling to provide affordable housing, but New Rochelle, a city just a train ride away from Manhattan, is working on a new approach that's bolstering affordable places to live. Led by Mayor Yadira Ramos-Herbert, the New Rochelle model is responsible for adding over 4,500 new housing units, with an additional 6,500 units on the way. Mayor Ramos-Herbert spoke to Bloomberg about how the city is using public-private partnerships and more to make it all happen.
We worked with the community here. What do you want to see in New Rochelle? And through our public-private partnership, we've enhanced plazas, we've brought murals, we've increased EV charging stations, we've bought a black box theater right to our main street, we're opening parklets, and so really working together, providing assurances to developers, everybody essentially wins. Never mind that rents are actually holding steady and actually decrease the median rent.
Mayor Ramos-Herbert is the first woman and first person of color to become mayor of New Rochelle. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
At Bank of America, we asked our people, how do you take ownership of your career?
I'm able to grow my way by putting the priorities that I have for my career first.
I thrive on being a leader who's behind the team, not in front of the team.
Every few years, I'm being re-energized because I get to do something different and learn something new.
See how our teammates are growing in their careers at bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da,
morning. Welcome to the program. Today it's Friday, November 21st, 2025. A lot of us were reeling when we saw these news reports and articles, stories about the U.S. Coast Guard, which is a division of the military. They said yesterday, and it was reported by the Washington Post, that it will no longer classify swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. Now they're backtracking on that. They're saying, no, there's still examples and representations of hate. But that was only after they backtracked. They wanted to make the classification of symbols of hate by every definition as potentially divisive. How is a swastika just potentially divisive? How is a noose, which was a weapon of terror, and still is in some cases, used against African Americans and others, a very brutal form of murder? And in the U.S. military, in which I'm going to share with you the demographics of the U.S. military because it is very, very diverse, how could the U.S. Coast Guard even make such a move or consider it? Now, of course, they backed off. But I think that's also a hallmark of things that are taking place under the auspices of the Trump administration. They'll come up with a new rule or a new law. They'll challenge norms. They strip DEI and anything related to minorities making advancement. Then there's public outrage. There's outcry from members of Congress. And then, of course, they backtrack. They always go to the extremes and see how far they can go. And if there is not any outcry, then they will change our standards and our norms. But this one really, really shocked me. And I was wondering, how did this even come about with all the things that are happening right now? Like, where out of the blue does the Coast Guard say we're not going to classify swastikas and nooses as symbols of hate? We're going to make them a little bit less divisive. Like, where would that even come from? And the only thing I could think of is there was an investigation. I'm assuming, now they're not being forthcoming with any of this, but it just seemed really weird and just kind of out of the blue. And this is not a typical distraction because usually when it comes to things that are involving the military, a lot of that stuff doesn't rise to public attention for a couple of reasons. You know, Pete Hegseth removed the press corps and reporters from the Pentagon. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. So we used to have dedicated news media outlets that would cover the Pentagon, now the Department of War, and they would inform the American people through their various media outlets, television stations, websites, et cetera, about what the Pentagon was doing, what our Department of Defense is doing, any military campaigns, any conversations they'd have with Army brass, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So all those people have been removed. So now there is no press covering the military, or at least not like there was. Now, the Department of Defense, the Department of War, they release information to the press that they want people to know instead of the media being independent and investigating them as they should via their constitutional right to do so, right? So the only thing that I can think of as to why this thing came to light, the U.S. claims that the U.S. Coast Guard will no longer classify swastikas, nooses, or other extremist imagery as prohibited symbols. Now, they're saying that that's false, even though the report yesterday says, well, they were just going to call them potentially divisive. Now, thankfully, they backtracked on it. But here's why I think it came to light. Somebody made a complaint because there was a noose displayed somewhere in some Coast Guard station or on one of their boats or one of their helicopters. Maybe it was an African American, maybe it was a Caucasian person that complained to upper level members of the Coast Guard, hey, so-and-so has a noose and a swastika. And then an investigation probably opened up and they found that there were a lot of them, a lot of swastikas, a lot of nooses, and a lot of symbols of hate throughout the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is actually one of the most Caucasian branches of the U.S. military. Of all of the branches, it actually has the highest percentage of Caucasian folk. I think it's something like 81%, where the U.S. Navy is the most diverse, but I'll get to those details in a second. So there probably was a complaint which led to an investigation, and the reason why I think they wanted to change the classification of nooses and swastikas to potentially divisive is because there are probably so many of them on display or symbols that are owned by members of the Coast Guard that if they banned them outright. Now, so my personal opinion is if you display a swastika or a noose or any other symbol of hate, a Confederate flag, you should be removed from service. And that shouldn't even be an argument. That shouldn't be a debate. Because as a member of the military, you are going to have to defend people in this country who are of different faiths, of different ethnicities, national origins, and different races. And if you are making it clear and making it plain as day by displaying a noose or a swastika or any other kind of racist insignia, you're just not fit to serve. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a really, really low standard. If you are intentional in displaying a symbol of hate, just go do something else with your life. You should not be serving and protecting the American people, right? But I think there was an investigation that uncovered there's so many symbols of hate amongst people in the Coast Guard that if they banned all of them or if they removed all of the individuals from service in the Coast Guard, it would be mission critical. Meaning there are so many probably racists in the Coast Guard that they have to reclassify those hate symbols because if they removed people from their posts or from their military service, we may not be able to accomplish missions in the Coast Guard. You got to think about that for a second. Now, that might sound ridiculous and far-fetched, but I'm going to give you a little bit more information that may lead you to believe that that might have been the case. In 2006, so that is 18, almost 19 years ago, James Comey, you guys remember him? Well, he was head of the Department of Justice under George W. Bush. And in 2006, James Comey realized something. He realized that there was a new threat, a burgeoning threat in the United States of America to where it rose to the level where the FBI needed to be concerned about it. This is in 2006 now. And he was noticing that people that were connected to and affiliated with white supremacist, white separatist groups were now joining law enforcement in really, really big numbers. And it got so bad that the FBI now had to focus on it because what is the deal with all of these known white nationalists and white supremacists joining local law enforcement, not joining the military, but local sheriffs, sheriff's deputies, local police officers. And then we can also have a conversation about some of the racially motivated shootings and killings of unarmed black men, women, and children in the era post-2006 when the FBI said, wait a minute, we got to start paying attention to this new phenomenon because it was happening at such a rapid clip that the FBI was like, we have to pay some attention to this. In 2016, there was another conversation that was had. So 10 years after James Comey noticed this, 10 years later, it actually got worse. This is article right here that I have in front of me is from 2016. Just to give people the size and the scope of white nationalists and white supremacists that are in law enforcement, not just in the military, but in local law enforcement as well. October 21, 2016, increased in attention toward the killing of black men and women by police throughout the past year has ignited national conversations on racism and law enforcement. From Freddie Gray in April of 2015 to Deborah Danner, an emotionally disturbed woman fatally shot by a New York police officer. Protests around the country forced many Americans to reassess how police engage with communities of color. Now, remember, this article that I'm reading you is from 2016. In light of, or perhaps despite, the increased scrutiny, FBI Director James Comey told police officers at a national conference back in 2016 that because of insufficient data on use of force, Americans actually have no idea whether racial bias in policing is really an epidemic, pointing to current public outrage over police killings of African Americans, Comey said. The absence of good information and data has aided in the growing belief that police officers target particular communities. Quote, that is the narrative, he told attendees of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. It is a narrative driven by video images of real misconduct, possible misconduct, and perceived. But even if there aren't hard statistics, the problem of racial bias amongst police is not new. In fact, it's been a concern of the FBI for at least a decade. So this is going back to 2006, what I was telling you a little while ago. Exactly 10 years ago this week, per this article from 2016, so in 2006, the FBI warned of the potential consequences, including bias of white supremacist groups infiltrating local and state law enforcement, indicating it was a significant threat to national security. They called it a significant threat to national security. If you have hatred toward a particular group, you can't just go shoot them on the street. That's illegal. You'll get charged with homicide unless you're standing your ground. But most of the time, if you don't like black people and you go shoot one in the face, you'll probably get arrested and your life is going to be inconvenienced. So if you really want to shoot black people, become a cop. And you have more reason and more justification to do so. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that police officers join or that white supremacists join law enforcement just to shoot black people, but it just makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more convenient if you want to do so. Also, if you want to be like a Proud Boy and you want to be in these paramilitary organizations that also have white supremacy ties, being a Proud Boy is kind of embarrassing, right? You kind of have a bad reputation. They've gotten some really bad PR. So what you do is you maybe denounce your Proud Boys membership and instead you just join ICE, because now you can wear a mask, you can shield your identity, you can drive an unmarked vehicle, and you can just jump out and grab people that speak Spanish and disappear them forever. So it's much more productive if you harbor hate for a group of people. Yeah, you can have a gang, you can be in the KKK, you can be a Proud Boy, but it's much cleaner and much more legitimate if you join the government or if you become a police officer or a member of the Department of Homeland Security. In fact, they're still running those ads, right? Because they're recruiting for Homeland Security, something like a $50,000 signing bonus, and they'll pay off your college loans if you decide that you want to join the Department of Homeland Security and helping to execute the president's mission of deporting. Well, it was 11 million people. Now I think it's like 20 million people. And so that's perfect, right? If you do not like these people in your country already, just join the ranks of these paramilitary organizations, the Coast Guard, other military organizations, or the Department of Homeland Security. In the 2006 bulletin, the FBI detailed the threat of white nationalists and skinheads infiltrating police in order to disrupt investigations against fellow members and recruit other supremacists. This is what they said in 2006. Now, I don't know what was done. Did they have deeper investigations? Did they uncover a huge conspiracy of white nationalists and white supremacists joining law enforcement, or did that trend continue? Because I know it's existing right now, and we can see the output of it. And the fact that the Coast Guard had to change how they classify nooses and swastikas, talk about moving backwards. Calling a swastika and a noose potentially divisive? What do you mean potentially? If I walk in somewhere and if I see either of those symbols displayed by someone or on a wall, I immediately have to assess two things: my defense and my safety. Because there's no potential divisiveness if someone hangs a noose where I can see it. I think that there was an investigation in the Coast Guard, which is a branch of, it is law enforcement, it is a branch of the U.S. military, where there were so many symbols of hate that are displayed by current members of the Coast Guard, rather, that they had to declassify those symbols as potentially divisive, because if they were banned, and if it led to members of the Coast Guard being removed from their service, it might be mission critical, meaning we would lose so many people in the damn Coast Guard that they could not operate anymore, because that is how many symbols of hate that they found. And don't let that shock you. Look at the era in which we're living in. We titled today's show The Most Dangerous Minority, and I'm going to define for you who I believe the most dangerous minority is in this country. And I don't think it's the minority that you're thinking of, so we're going to talk about that. And also, the Department of Justice currently removed some information from their website that stated, it was a study that was done, that said that domestic terrorism and the deaths associated with it are coming from, like unequivocally, right-wing conservative extremist groups. In something like 200 plus incidents, they have killed something like 700 people. And that is more incidents of terror, death, and murder than all left-wing, left-leaning groups and Islamic extremists combined, right? So there was a study on the Department of Justice's website. The Trump administration had that removed because the Trump administration doesn't want you to know that it's the right-wing extremists that are the biggest terrorist threat that we have in the United States. They want to control the narrative and tell you that it's left-wing extremists that are the ones that are causing all of the death and destruction. So we're going to talk about that too. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Happy Friday, everybody. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. On Saturday night, the Milwaukee Panthers continue their road trip as they head to Kansas to take on the Wichita State Shockers.
Right elbow, Hubbard at the top, 5 on the shot clock, 1-on-1 with Petty. High on the left with 2, driving, baseline, 16-footer is pure at the shot clock buzzer. Oh, Seth Hubbard.
Scott Warris has the coverage Saturday starting at 5:30 on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 6 o'clock.
Tracy, going back to the process, and as it relates specifically to the partnership that Old National Bank has with Housing Resource, what does the process consist of when coming through this program?
You know, it's a referral process. We work with clients that first-time homeowners that may not have the counseling that they need. They may not have the equity, the down payment that they need. So we refer them to our partners like HRI or Housing Resources, Inc., because we recognize that those organizations, they have the resources, they have the tutorial documentation and all of those things that are necessary for first-time homeowners that don't know the process, may not know the system, may not know what's required for home ownership. So working with Housing Resources Inc. and other partnerships that we have like through WIDA has been very, very advantageous, not only for us, but also the organizations, but also for the community.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Policy is set to go into effect on December 15th, and if the potentially divisive symbol, like, a noose or a swastika, is reported, supervisors will have to investigate and could direct it to be removed after advising with the legal office, the Washington Post reported. So I want y'all to understand this. If you are a member of the Coast Guard and you're, guarding the coast, and one of your, what do you call Coast Guard colleagues, like a crew member or something, is displaying a noose, and you happen to be black, and you say, I don't want to see that while I'm guarding the coast, and you report it to a supervisor, then the supervisor is going to have to investigate, and they could direct the noose to be removed. Like, not they have to, it's required, it's mandatory. They'll consider it. They'll give it some thought. The new policy is set to go into effect December 15th, and if the potentially divisive symbol is reported, supervisors will have to investigate and could direct it to be removed after advising with the legal office. Like, what advice would you need from the legal office? So my question is, and maybe this is a fundamental question for all of us, because you do have freedom of speech, right? You can express yourselves. And these symbols, they're not illegal, but they are immoral. And to me, and to Jewish people, and other racial and ethnic minorities, they are physical symbols of our destruction. That is what they represent. But your freedom of speech guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, allows you to express yourself, even if you are expressing viewpoints that may not be very popular, but you would think that we'd have some kind of a standard for men and women in uniform. Now, I also know that it's difficult to recruit people into the different branches of the military. It just seems like the patriotism that once existed some time ago has kind of dissipated, because I can understand why people are somewhat disappointed with their government and the execution thereof. And there are probably some people that may not totally and fully trust the executive leadership here in the United States. And if you don't thoroughly, fully trust and believe in the executive leadership of the United States, then they potentially could get you, assuming that you sign up for the armed services, into a military conflict that you also may not agree with. It's already tough to recruit people into the military, but then having a president like we have right now that is, let's just say, unpredictable, and foreign policy that we don't really understand because we have had all the journalists removed from the Pentagon. They're not covering the Department of Defense. Why would anybody want to join the military? Also know that African Americans in particular are overrepresented in every branch of the military. There are more of us serving percentage-wise than our percentages in the United States. And the fact that there's going to be an investigation and then legal counsel will make a determination if a symbol of hate like a swastika or a noose should be removed, that says a lot about how they feel about us. I've always been so supportive of the men and women in uniform for a number of reasons. I appreciate what they do, their service, their sacrifice, because they can be called up and they have no decision-making ability whatsoever, called up to go be sent to a foreign country that none of us have ever heard of and go shoot people in the name of the United States. And that can happen at any point in time. In fact, it probably happens a lot more frequently than we think it does because some of these military missions are deeply classified. So I got a lot of respect for people that do that. They'll put their lives on the line for all of the things that this country is. But a deeper respect for people who still face bias and discrimination and racism, and for those people to sign up to be in the military to defend the United States, like that's noble work. And so shouldn't there be a modicum of respect for those people who are still discriminated, and they'll be discriminated against even if they're in uniform? There's so many stories of African-American GIs returning back to America after World War II, thinking that they earned their right to be a productive and equal member of society. The number of incidents of racial terror and hatred from black GIs wearing their military uniforms after they came home from World War II, which was an incredible victory. That was a global victory. We stopped tyranny, and they wouldn't have stopped tyranny if it wasn't for the United States. And the fact that these African-American soldiers came back in their uniforms and were still beaten and killed like they didn't just serve the world is amazing to me. The Department of Homeland Security strongly pushed back on the report, calling it absolutely a ludicrous lie and unequivocally false. This is them backtracking. They did, in fact, lower the classification for hate symbols, swastikas and nooses, to potentially divisive. Bunch of members of Congress found out about that. They got very upset, and now they're pushing back on that. I think there was, in fact, an investigation, and they found so many symbols of hate in the U.S. Coast Guard amongst those members that if they banned those outright or if they removed those people from their service in the Coast Guard, it would be mission critical. Meaning we could not function as a Coast Guard and be effective in guarding the coast if you removed all of the people that displayed symbols of hate. Terribly disappointing. I'm going to take a break, come back. I want to give you some other information. House Democratic leaders contact the Capitol Police after Donald Trump threatens to kill Democrats. Oh, and Jasmine Crockett got a white supremacist threat to her office as well. But they're saying that it's the lunatic left-wingers that are the ones responsible for the political violence. Isn't that odd? So now you got the Capitol Police potentially having to guard Democratic members of Congress. And you want to know why? Some Democrats in Congress urged members of the military to defy illegal orders because there is a assumption that Donald Trump will instruct members of the military to do things that are not lawful, including turning their weapons on American citizens. And so I think it was 5 or 6 Democrats in either the Senate or the House of Representatives who are veterans themselves. They are the ones that said, hey, if they order you to do something illegal, you should defy that order. Basically trying to stop a coup, because if we thought January 6th was bad, well, now Donald Trump is, in fact, commander-in-chief of the entire U.S. military, and, of course, the Coast Guard as well, where we found out that there were some symbols of hate that were classified as potentially divisive. If Donald Trump decides he wants to do something, on a larger scale than January 6th, maybe to prevent or interfere with the midterm elections next year, these U.S. veteran members of Congress said that these current serving vets should defy any illegal orders given to them by the president. And because those veterans in Congress told members of the military they should not do anything illegal, even if Trump tells them to, Trump said those Democrats should be killed. So we're going to talk about that today as well. Oh, don't worry, there's plenty of time to fly off of the rails. But I think somebody said in the YouTube comments, the show starts off so serious and then it flies off the rails. I got to get the serious stuff out when I can. Because then, if I don't get it all out, then Al will call, and the next thing you know, he's going to derail my program. But we're not going to let that happen on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Want to help build a better Milwaukee? 1MKE is a nonpartisan coalition of over 100 community partners, making it easier to plug into what matters. From local services that can save you time and money, to events that build community, to voting resources to ensure your voice is heard. Whether you're new to civic engagement or ready to level up your impact, there's a place for you with 1MKE. Learn more, get involved, and take their community feedback survey at 1mke.org. We are 1MKE.
Host an unforgettable outing and create special memories with your crew at a Milwaukee Bucks game. Groups of 10 or more can score ticket savings, block seating, and take part in special activities on game days. Showcase your team's talents on center court, score a high five from the pros, and more. There are great options for groups of all sizes. Start planning your ultimate Bucks basketball game day experience today at bucks.com/groups. That's bucks.com/groups.
Today's College Month Spotlight is brought to you by Marquette University, and now I am so excited to be joined by Kennedy Luckett, a sophomore at Marquette University who is the first recipient of the prestigious Way Scholars Program. Let's get right into it, though, Kennedy. You are the first ever Way Scholar. Can you talk about your whole experience of getting that award on live TV on the Today Show?
It was a surprise, like it was supposed to be. I didn't know what was going on or what I was being necessarily interviewed for.
Oh.
I got told I was moving to the next round at an on-screen interview, which they liked that too. And then they were like, okay, hey. And then they flew me out to New York. They told me D-Wade was there, but I wasn't going to be able to meet him. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I come out behind the stage and he's saying my name sitting on the couch. And I was like, oh, I was tricked. I am going to meet him. That was super cool. And then I was presented with the award. So that was super cool.
That is very, very cool. Now, Kennedy, what makes Marquette so fun and appealing to you?
The community and the different things that I'm able to do. And also, like I said, walking around campus, that's always just the best part for me. I'm a part of the Marquette Filmmakers Club, so they just make student films and stuff like that. I'm also a part of The Wire now. I'm in the process of creating my own TV show, so that's super fun.
Love that.
That's actually super exciting. You can do what you want there. If you ask somebody, you can do it.
Now, how has Marquette prepared you for your future?
Marquette has given me the opportunity to do the things I want to do, career focus. So I am double majoring in psychology and digital media. So right now I'm in a research program. Marquette gave me all the information before I even accepted my admissions about research opportunities I could do. So I hopped on that my first year. Also, with making this TV show, I want to be a showrunner and a director. I'm getting experience with all the stuff I want to do now. So by the time I'm graduated, I have some really nice footing to be able to do what I want to do.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The U.S. Coast Guard on Thursday issued a memo that reclassifies swastikas and nooses as hate symbols in a rapid about-face after facing intense scrutiny for a previous policy change which downplayed their display as merely potentially divisive. So you guys got to like help me with this. Why would that policy need to be lessened? Why would they? What was in the original calculus in thinking that, okay, hate symbols are potentially divisive? Like when did the blow of seeing a swastika if you're Jewish? And I'm not Jewish, and if I see a swastika, I'm in trouble too, because I don't know if y'all know, Nazis didn't like black people either. And then a noose, of course, we know what that means. We know that that has been a symbol of terror. When did a noose become less of a symbol of terror to where the U.S. Coast Guard decided that they were going to lessen the severity of its classification, meaning it is more permissible to display those symbols if you're a member of the Coast Guard? And just if you think for a second, I just want to be practical here, and I don't want to miss anything. If you are a Jewish person or some kind of a person of color, maybe you're an African American, and you have to be in solidarity with your brothers and sisters that you are serving with in the U.S. Coast Guard, would you be willing to help one of your fellow Coast Guard members that is displaying a swastika or a noose, maybe both? What if they were in trouble? What if they were, I don't know, taking enemy fire? What if they went overboard? Because, you know, the Coast Guard got a bunch of boats. And if there was a person, I'm not in the military now, and probably for damn good reason, but if there was one of my military colleagues that fell off the boat, but also this same military colleague of mine, now remember, I don't have any military colleagues because I'm not in the military, but if they fell over the boat, but the person that fell over the boat also displays the noose right where their bunk is, I'm gonna let them drown. It would, let's say, have an impact on the solidarity amongst the people that are in the ranks of the Coast Guard. If there is someone that you are on a mission with and they display these racist symbols when they are in trouble in this mission, you are probably going to be less likely to help them, because you're going to have to be a noble person to save the life of someone who thinks your life is less than theirs. I don't know if I could do it. And if something happened to that individual who displays a symbol that tells me and people that look like me that my life is worth less than theirs, and they find themselves in trouble where their life is in jeopardy, and they happen to pass away, I'm going to call that guy taking out the trash. The newest memo expressly prohibits the display of nooses, swastikas, or, quote, any symbols or flags co-opted or adopted by hate-based groups as representations of supremacy, racial or religious intolerance, anti-Semitism, or any other improper bias. It was released hours after the Washington Post reported that the Coast Guard had dropped a policy that downgraded the way symbols, which are some of the most recognizable emblems of racism and anti-Semitism, had previously been classified. You know, I'm seeing this rise of anti-Semitism, but at the same time, the United States is really, really super loyal to Israel. So I'm trying to figure out where that whole thing is going. I think it started with the left, because you have the pro-Palestinian protesters, which are very much liberal affiliated. In fact, they were marching all summer, last summer, because of the RNC. And you would see like a protest against Trump, but then you'd have a bunch of people there flying Palestinian flags. And then they wear that cloth. You guys know what I'm talking about? That cloth that they wear that symbolizes they are pro-Palestinian. And in some of the rhetoric of the left-leaning pro-Palestinian protesters was some pretty significant anti-Semitic language. Now, I don't really split hairs and get into the Jewish people and the Zionists and Benjamin Netanyahu. That ain't my thing. When it comes to that kind of foreign policy, I don't get involved. I'm more worried about what is happening right here in Wisconsin and in Milwaukee. So I don't really get into all that. However, I do think that there's a genocide being against the Palestinian people. I think it's being carried out. I'm going to say that part now, but you got to call genocide out no matter what. And by me saying and thinking and feeling that there's a genocide being carried out against the Palestinian people, I'm not calling out one particular group. I'm talking about the victims. We can figure out who's carrying the genocide out later, because quite honestly, I don't know who it is. I have a feeling I know who it is, but I'm not going to say because I don't have the evidence. So there was some anti-Semitic undertones in some anti-Trump marches, and even at the No Kings protest, you still see a couple of Palestinian flags, and there's some kind of anti-Semitic rhetoric, but that was cemented on the left. There's a guy named Nick Fuentes, who is, I guess he's the next incarnation of Charlie Kirk, but even worse, even more racist, even more biased, even more anti-Semitic. You know, Charlie Kirk was starting to say that the Israel state was committing a genocide against the Palestinian people as well. And next thing you know, Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. So now that anti-Semitic undertone that was existing amongst left-leaning groups, and Democrats warned Republicans that it was coming to them next, that the anti-Semitism that we were seeing in left-leaning groups and some of the pro-Palestinian protests, we had a bunch of them. Was that the summer of 2024? There was a lot of pro-Palestinian protests that weren't affiliated with any other cause. There was quite a few, actually. And in some of those protests was some anti-Semitic rhetoric. Republicans were warned that it was coming to them next, and it has. So this is a very unusual turning point that we're seeing in the country. And also, we know that the U.S. military and members of it tend to be much more conservative. And so I'm wondering what the connection is here. Is there some truth to the Democrats some time ago warning Republicans and conservatives that the anti-Semitic overtones that were firmly cemented in the pro-Palestinian protests, that anti-Semitic overtone has now bled its way into the U.S. military, which may have caused the U.S. Coast Guard to downgrade the severity of displaying a swastika. At the same time, we are giving billions and billions of dollars to Israel, and Donald Trump is allied with Benjamin Netanyahu. This is about the most foreign policy you're ever going to get out of me, but what I'm doing is I'm tracing and tracking hate. Because wherever hate exists, we have to follow it, and we have to do our darndest to extinguish it. Since 2023, Coast Guard policy had said displaying the symbols, quote, constitutes a potential hate incident. In the updated policy first reported by the Washington Post yesterday and issued by the Coast Guard last week, that language had been changed to referring to those symbols as, quote, potentially divisive. That policy had been set to take effect in December. Potentially divisive doesn't sound severe. Potentially divisive to me is wearing like Nikes and Reeboks. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. You can't do that. Can't wear Nikes and Reeboks. Like it's just somewhat kind of offensive, but also you can just turn away from it and ignore it. Something that is potentially divisive almost seems like if someone gets offended by something in free speech America that is considered potentially divisive, then you could just diminish that person as being a snowflake. Oh, that's potentially divisive. Oh, why are you getting so bent out of shape about it? Lessening the impact of displaying a swastika and a noose to potentially divisive. They're trying to tell us something, ladies and gentlemen. They are trying to say that symbols of hate, well known, well documented throughout history, are really not all that offensive if you're in the U.S. military that I think should uphold the highest standards for moral conduct. This administration is telling us something, and I just really hope that we are listening in the 2006 when James Comey came out with that bulletin saying that white nationalists and white supremacists were infiltrating law enforcement. The military is also law enforcement. In the 2006 bulletin, the FBI detailed the threat of white nationalists and skinheads infiltrating police and other law enforcement in order to disrupt investigations against fellow members and recruit other supremacists. The bulletin was released during a period of scandal for many law enforcement agencies throughout the country, including a neo-Nazi gang formed by members of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department who harassed Black and Latino communities. Similar investigations revealed officers and entire agencies with hate group ties in Texas, Ohio, and Illinois. Brief side note that we're going to take a break. The police department in Butler, you guys remember the scandal that happened? Butler's a small little town in Waukesha County, right? 124th and Hampton, actually. So if you're on Hampton and you're going west and you cross 124th, I call 124th Street the Iron Curtain, because that's when you're leaving Milwaukee if you're traveling west and going into one of the most Republican voting counties in the country. 124th Street is the dividing line between the red and the blue, you see. So Butler is one of these little small community just on the other side of 124th Street. And there was like an open records request of the emails amongst the police officers in the Butler Police Department. And it's a real small department, you see. Every time they referred to an African-American in Butler, and a lot of black folks would travel to and from and in and out of Butler because it's right there. It starts at 124th and Hampton. So in the emails, amongst these police officers communicating to one another, every time they refer to an African-American for a traffic stop or the accusation of a crime or an investigation, they use the N-word. In every single incident where there was an African-American involved, these police officers called us the N-word. They then disbanded the Butler Police Department. We should have been paying much more attention to this going back 18 years with these white nationalists and white supremacists and people that are intent on doing harm and not following the law, people that do not care about due process, infiltrating law enforcement. We should have paid more attention some time ago. Also know that this current president has ended all consent decrees against police departments that have documented racial profiling and racial incidents that is currently being investigated or was previously being investigated. All of those consent decrees have been lifted, meaning if police departments were on notice because of all of the incidents and reported incidents of either racial violence or racial bias, Donald Trump said, no, we're going to lift the consent decrees, go on, continue business as usual. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Gina Della and her team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin always have the winning game plan. Check out the championship caliber play call this month. A whole house of beautiful, new, energy-efficient Pella windows for as low as $297 a month. And get this, 0% interest for up to 6 years. That's like running a drive that keeps moving the chains with no penalties and no interest. And I can tell you from my experience, Pella windows actually stop the drafts. You'll stay comfortable no matter how cold it gets outside. Think about it. Energy savings, comfort, and a great monthly payment you can actually manage. That's why I trust Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and why this is the right time to make your move. Call today and schedule your free consultation at PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 11/30 of 2025.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
At Heart of Canal Street, for over 30 years, our hearts have been set on making a difference for children in our community. Now through December 10th, we invite you to share your heart by playing the Canal Street Bingo game at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Every time you play this special bingo game, you're helping to raise funds for children's charities in southeastern Wisconsin. Learn more at potawatomi.com/heart.
Harley-Davidson is an iconic Milwaukee brand, recognized worldwide for its innovation and strength. For many years, Harley-Davidson has partnered with Junior Achievement to prepare the future workforce of our community. Together, we're ensuring young people discover the career path that's right for them. To learn more, visit wisconsin.ja.org.
At Gruber Law Offices, we've helped tens of thousands of families after a serious accident. Our priority has always been our clients. We're here for you whenever you may need us. One call, that's all.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Gentlemen, as you know, we have something special down here at Birdland this evening. A recording for Blue Note Records.
James Jones says via YouTube, most people in the military will never see combat. Well, James, most people will probably never get cancer either. So does that mean we should stop our cancer research? James goes on to say most dangerous in the inner city street or just being in America. I think that's a little far-fetched. I also don't like the term inner city being associated with violence, because what created the social conditions in inner cities and why people are violent, that is where the violence started. To strip people of what they need to be successful, to underfund schools, to under-resource all of the things that we know communities need so that they can thrive, that is violent. So what you do is you take stuff away from people, or you limit where they can go and where they can live, and you segregate them and you separate them. And if you segregate them and you separate them and you know exactly where they are, you know how you can punish them. You can over-police them. You can underfund them. You can criminalize their children. You can charge children as adults. And when people react in a way that illustrates how much pain has been inflicted on them policy-wise, and then we call those people violent. I'm so tired of that, especially when it comes from black people, because we're the first ones to say how we're peace-loving and Christian and God-fearing, but yet our communities are all labeled as violent. And the inner city is violent. Black people, there's a history of us being forced to live in the inner city. We always did not have the freedom to live where we want. And so what we now do is we adopt the colonizers' narrative of, oh, the inner cities are violent. If you walk down the inner city street right now, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to shoot you in the face? You're going to die. Are you going to just get your legs blown off if you just happen to walk on Hopkins or on 10th and Locust? Are you just going to miraculously be murdered? I would argue that if you are a person of color, especially in these days and times, your life might be more in danger if you're walking around in the suburbs, because they will consider your black ass a threat and blow you away and won't go to jail for it. That's where I think the threat is. I feel way more comfortable on a north side, in a north side neighborhood around my people than I do out there. And I'm not implicating them as being violent. I just know that my presence can incite fear in them. Fear in that, oh no, it's a black guy. He's probably in a gang, or he's probably here to rob somebody. Or the worst kind of fear, and even worse fear than that is, oh no, he might be moving out here. He might be wanting to move into our neighborhood, therefore decreasing our property values. And if you decrease our property values, then the funding for our schools are going to go down. I am far more of a threat, either good or bad, to them than we are to one another. And I firmly believe that. Now, you may have a different attitude, but I just don't like labeling innocent people, mothers who are working 2 and 3 jobs to feed their kids. making sure that their kids have proper guidance, making sure that those kids are getting their education. But because of where that person lives, because they can't afford to live anywhere else, we label that whole neighborhood as bad. I mean, why don't we just say it? Where black people live is a bad neighborhood. No matter what those black people do, no matter how many organizations they have to help people and nonprofits that they have and how many food banks they have when SNAP benefits get temporarily paused. No. All the people that live in that neighborhood are just bad because they're black. But keeping in mind they live in that neighborhood because they couldn't live anywhere else. So what we do is we corral people, put them in this zip code, 53206, and then label the whole thing bad. That means that everybody you see there, well, they're probably a criminal. And then you send in a whole bunch of police with that exact same attitude. Now the police can just shoot everybody. Now I expect that rhetoric from them. I never expect it from us. Let's talk to Marlon. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Marlon?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I wanted to talk about the senators who, Congress people who put out the word to the military personnel, basically saying that you don't have to do that. There are rules and laws on the books for military personnel. When you get an order from someone above you that is not honorable or that goes against your values or go against the values of the military, I was in the Marine Corps, then you do not have to do it. Now, what may happen is you may get in trouble down the line, but you do have that behind you, and you do not have to do any orders that are against your personal values or values of the Marine Corps or whichever military branch of service. So the things that they were telling them are nothing new. They were just probably, it's more of a reminder than anything else that you don't have to do the orders that are placed in front of you all the time.
Thank you, Devil Dog. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
All right, Marlon. Have a good weekend. House Democratic leadership said yesterday they've been in touch with the U.S. Capitol Police and the House Sergeant at Arms to protect a group of lawmakers after President Trump appeared to suggest that their comments were, quote, punishable by death. So I'm glad Marlon called. He's one of our favorite Marines here at 101.7 The Truth. That rule already existed. If your commanding officer or your sergeant or whomever gives an order that is immoral and or illegal, that lower ranking member of the military does have some recourse. Marlon is right. All of the members of the military know that. But when Democrats say that, and Democratic members of Congress say that reinforcing a rule that's already understood, well, Donald Trump thinks that's a threat to a potential coup he might want to start. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Come in with straight truth.
If you acted up, if you were out here doing any kind of foolishness or just something that people know would make your family's name look bad, your neighbor from down the street, if they see the son or daughter, be like, what are you doing? They gonna call you out. They gonna let you know that they saw you, and then they gonna tell you, come here. Now, you know I'm gonna tell your daddy.
That part.
There are a lot of times when people are new to an area, they don't know where to plug in. And anybody who plugs in to 101.7 The Truth and listen to you and Dame and Truth Nation would know that there is a significant public outcry when violence happens in our community. Don't worry about the outcry if you're not listening to the right people. So I would encourage her to tune in to 101.7 The Truth and listen to you guys, Denise Thomas, Dr. Ken Harris, Tori Lowe, and definitely Sherwin Hughes every day.
Watch all your favorite 101.7 The Truth shows by subscribing to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
At Educators Credit Union, they believe that every person should have the tools they need to achieve their dreams. Educators Credit Union is dedicated to helping our future leaders eliminate financial hurdles by providing 35 high school seniors a $2,000 scholarship every year. Applications open in January. Visit Educators Credit Union at ECU.com to learn more about how to apply. Educators Credit Union, insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. his parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Where strong voices meet strong opinions.
Tell your kids who were supposed to be the 7th generation that Paw Paw's an idiot because Paw Paw decided he wanted to be Make America Great, but meanwhile, the Chinese ain't buying soybeans from us no more because of policies Donald Trump put in, and they voted for us. You know, I don't know what we're gonna do. I know what you should have did. You should have voted for somebody that wasn't gonna put tariffs out there. I love God, but God can't save you from nonsense. You don't deserve a bailout. You can't sit here and vote one way, and then when your economy gets decimated, your way of life gets destroyed, you want to pray to God? God didn't tell you to go to that poll and vote against your own best interest. That was your own damn problem. That was you. But don't ask for prayer when you block your own blessing. That's why I don't feel bad for these farmers. You voted for this, and now you reap what you sow.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace, every weekday from 12 to 1, streaming live on YouTube and on 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee's Black Talk lives here. You are listening to 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So it should be noted that it was researched and found and published on the Department of Justice's website that domestic terrorism was being carried out almost exclusively by people affiliated with the right wing of American politics. In fact, the events that they were responsible for and the deaths that resulted from some of those occurrences outpaces both Islamic extremists and far left-wing revolutionary extremists as well. So the violence is coming from one way. We don't need to argue about that. We don't need to have any further discussion. It is what it is. And it was published on the Department of Justice's website. Well, the Trump administration came in and they took that down. And Donald Trump, as you know, and some of the people most loyal to him have been trying to change the narrative by saying, no, it's the left-wing lunatics that are carrying out all of these domestic terrorist extremist events. We know that's not true. But this is also a hallmark of this administration, and I want people to pay attention to that. If anything implicates a Republican or a conservative or somebody affiliated with MAGA or Donald Trump, and if they are the ones causing issues, problems, and violence, that information is going to be removed, and Donald Trump and his acolytes are going to change the narrative and blame the Democrats. It actually is a method that was used in Nazi Germany. You blame your enemy for what you are in fact doing, and people do it because it actually works. And that is a hallmark of this administration, and that is just plain and simple fact. You don't have to believe it. That doesn't make it untrue. If you don't believe it, that just makes you a non-believer. From Axios.com, House Democratic leadership said yesterday that they've been in touch with the U.S. Capitol Police and the House Sergeant at Arms to protect a group of Democratic lawmakers after President Trump appeared to suggest that their comments were punishable by death. And he wrote death on Truth Social in all capital letters. Let me just take a little moment right there. A lot of us have grown weary of Donald Trump's comments. In fact, so weary, we just ignore them. We play them off. They don't really have the same impact that they used to. Because you can't continue to outrage yourself by everything he says at a press conference or everything he tweets or everything he posts on Truth Social. Most of us have learned to tune him out and really diminish what he says. But there are a handful of people, even if it's just a couple of people. You guys know how much damage one lunatic with a gun can do. So it's not about the majority of people that dismiss what he says and, oh, he's crazy or he's unhinged. Oh, we're not going to pay attention to him. Most of us probably have taken that stance and that posture when it comes to his most egregious things that he says. But there's a couple of people that take him seriously. Saw a video clip yesterday of him taking questions as he's boarding Air Force One. Why they try to talk to this man when he's about to get on that airplane is just beyond me, because he don't like to talk to people when he's getting on that airplane. That's when he says the dumbest stuff. The press, I know they want to get answers and information out of Donald Trump, but when a man is on the airplane, don't talk to him. Wait till he lands. Some reporter asked him something, trying to hold him accountable for God knows what. He said, "Shut up, piggy." Called the woman reporter a pig. Some things we just can't tune out because it will become the new standard. It doesn't necessarily end with him. There will be someone else that will be more sophisticated than him, but will also harbor the same kind of hatred for women and for other marginalized groups. So when we allow him to get away with this, we have to maintain the outrage some kind of way, because if we just get complacent and get used to it, it will become the new standard. Trump considerably ramped up the severity of his rhetoric against Democrats yesterday after a group of military veterans serving in Congress released a video encouraging service members to resist unlawful orders. Ladies and gentlemen, I want members of the military to resist unlawful orders. I don't know who some of these generals are. I know that a lot of people lost their ranks. If Pete Hegseth, when he was confirmed the Secretary of Defense, if you were black or if you were a woman, and if Pete Hegseth believed, whether he had evidence or not, that you achieved your military rank because you were black or because you were a woman, you lost your rank. Now, who those individuals were replaced with, I don't know. I'm assuming some of them were probably handpicked by Pete Hegseth. He's also a man that has a series of iron crosses tattooed on his body. If you don't know what an iron cross symbolizes, you got all the Google you could ever ask for right at your fingertips. It is very possible that in order to do something illegal to the American people could be ushered. Could be. I know that there was a protest in 1970 at Kent State in Ohio, and the National Guard sent in by Richard Nixon to quell anti-Vietnam War protests turned deadly, where those National Guard members shot and killed 4 college students. Now, I'm not saying that something like that is going to happen again, but if a commander or commanding officer in the military, where we have the National Guard in a number of American cities, and you have people that signed up for the right reasons because they want to protect the United States from enemies, both foreign and domestic, and if any member of our military or armed services is given an order to do something that they feel is unlawful, they simply shouldn't do it. And here's the thing, they already know that. But the fact that you have Democratic lawmakers who are veterans themselves reinforcing that, that triggered Donald Trump to threaten the lives of military veterans who are currently serving in Congress. These are the kinds of things that we should not just casually dismiss. This is dangerous. I think America has been teetering on civil war for a very long time. The only thing that has been holding us together has been our handful of trusted institutions. And once we lose faith in those trusted institutions, so far it's the courts kind of a little bit. It's our local units of government kind of holding this nation together. It's easier to dismiss what is happening at the federal level and pay more attention to what is happening at home, because, I mean, that's our day-to-day lives, right? But when political disagreements at the federal level have an impact at home, then you're paying less attention to what's going on in your backyard, and you're glued to what the federal government is up to. SNAP benefits was a perfect example. we had to at least temporarily shelve the issues and problems that we were working on and dealing with and trying to fix in Milwaukee because people couldn't eat. You know what I mean? So you had to pivot a little bit. Sometimes you can't ignore what is happening at the federal level. And if there will be more National Guard troops, there's going to be more next summer. I guarantee it. If the economy slips a little bit, negative indicators go up. Unemployment goes up, joblessness goes up, crime is going to tick up, domestic violence ticks up, homelessness ticks up, and those things have like a compounding effect. So this summer was the litmus test to see how many National Guard troops we could get away with sending into certain American cities. Next summer, there will be more, and I think there'll be more because we're probably going to see some increase in crime. I just can predict it because it's easy to guess. But also, having the National Guard troops installed in American cities, especially blue cities, Democrat-run cities that we know Donald Trump doesn't like, but having those National Guard troops and other military stationed in blue American cities ahead of the midterm elections makes an awful lot of sense. I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion, that there's going to be a large number of people that are going to turn out and vote next November all over the country. And if a couple of Tuesdays ago was any kind of indication of the mood, temperament, and sentiment of the American voter, and if prices continue to rise and if inflation continues to go up, I just have a feeling, right? Just like I can predict there might be an increase in crime next summer, I have a prediction that people are going to vote for more Democrats than Republicans. I just have this feeling. Well, Donald Trump doesn't like that. And if he's going to have the military and the National Guard, hell, might as well throw the Coast Guard in there too, in American cities because crime is ticking up next summer. And then if he believes that Democrats are going to win a disproportionate amount of congressional seats, you know what that means for Trump? That means that he's going to get impeached a lot. And some of these impeachments might actually stick depending upon the details and the evidence and the things that Donald Trump still has yet to do that can lead to his conviction in the Senate. I think there's something in the Epstein files that we're going to find out in the next probably 3 to 4 months. There's going to be such a bombshell. Republicans are going to no longer want to be associated with Donald Trump. That being said, people are going to vote for Democrats in the midterm elections. I just believe that. Well, Donald Trump doesn't want his fate to be dealt to him by the political party that he hates. And the reason why the military is in these cities, this is just my prediction, because it seems that this administration is following an easy to track path. They want to federalize our elections. They want to do the whole big lie all over again. And they're going to seize voting machines. And the votes are going to be counted somewhere else by someone else. And the military will probably help usher that very dramatic new epoch in American history. And people are going to protest a lot. They're going to be very angry when they see uniformed members of the National Guard and maybe the Army and the Marines sent in by Donald Trump to seize every single voting machine. I know that I'm going to be out there in the streets. In fact, I need to buy me some new protest shoes. And then imagine if one of the commanding officers or a general appointed by Pete Hegseth, who I'm sure had something to do with the declassification of hate symbols in the Coast Guard, orders a member of the military to turn their weapons on American citizens who will grow intense in their protests if we see our voting machines being seized by the federal government. There are members in Congress that know a whole bunch of stuff that we don't know. They have access to information and to intelligence, not to mention there are Republicans that leak the most dangerous things that Donald Trump and his administration is considering to Democrats. I know it happens. There's no question about it. Because the Republicans can't say anything, not a single Republican, other than the Epstein files, because pedophilia, I guess it's easy to come out against. Everything else, healthcare costs, the economy, inflation, all that, no, that stuff, and we got to stay quiet about that. But now pedophilia is something that we can finally use to voice our opposition to Donald Trump. There's more happening than we know about, because it's unusual that these 6 Democratic lawmakers that are all veterans are reaffirming and reiterating something that people in uniform already know. You can refuse an illegal order. Could illegal orders be on the way? And with this administration, nothing is off limits. The dude is mentioned 1,600 times in the Epstein files. And I'm not implicating him of doing anything wrong and illegal just yet. But if your name is mentioned 1,600 times, all there has to be is one mention being associated with something that is nefarious, illegal, and or disgusting, probably all of the above. Oh, I got another one for you I found out overnight. You guys ever heard of the Ring Boy scandal? Oh, you haven't? Vince and Linda McMahon, who was the head of the U.S. Department of Education, who is helping the Trump administration dismantle the U.S. Department of Education, is involved with, named in a lawsuit that alleges that when Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon had their top corporate positions with World Wrestling Entertainment, they were aware of ring boys, teenage boys that were being sexually abused and sexually molested, and they did nothing about it. In fact, there were settlements that were paid to ensure the silence of some of these children. Linda McMahon, who was complicit in that, they knew about these young boys being sexually assaulted by some of their professional wrestlers and other people, and they kept it under wraps. Now Linda McMahon is head of the U.S. Department of Education, which is a federal agency that oversees not just college level and related things, but the education of our children. The pedophilia, ladies and gentlemen, is not just in the Epstein files. Now, I wonder, when are the Republicans and the conservatives going to distance themselves from that? I feel like I need to give you guys the details of the Ring Boy scandal, because this is not associated with Jeffrey Epstein. But it is, in fact, pedophilia. Both, and in fact, it was one of the reasons why Vince McMahon stepped down. And now Linda McMahon, who was also involved and named and alleged and all the other stuff and was complicit in paying a settlement to keep some of these sexually abused boys quiet, is now the head of the Department of Education. There's a problem here, ladies and gentlemen. Houston, we have a problem. Let's talk more on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey, think you're the ultimate trivia champ?
Well, prove it against us, your favorite WTMJ host.
It's free to play. All we ask is bring a new unwrapped toy to benefit Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive.
Or you can donate at WTMJ.com. Just text TOY to the WTMJ talk and text line.
855-616-1620.
Grab your friends. Test your smarts. All while helping a great cause.
It's the WTMJ Trivia Challenge, coming to a place near you.
Check out the schedule of where we will be at WTMJ.com.
Talk to these people in terms of, how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person, depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the First Time Home Buyer Education Workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law offices make our community a better place.
They are the best.
For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law offices.
There's nothing like Milwaukee Bucks basketball at Fiserv Forum. The dunks, the defense, the roar of 17,000 fans. It's even better when you're with friends or family. From jaw-dropping plays to buzzer-beating threes, every game is packed with unforgettable moments that you'll get to share together. So gather your crew and get your single game tickets today at bucks.com/single. That's bucks.com/single.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns. It's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Vince McMahon and WWE were accused of knowing about and failing to stop the sexual exploitation of young boys by a ringside announcer in a lawsuit filed on behalf of 5 alleged victims. The suit, filed in Baltimore County, Maryland, accuses McMahon and his wife Linda, current U.S. Education Secretary, and World Wrestling Entertainment and its parent company TKO Holdings of allowing, quote, the open, rampant abuse of ring boys as young as 12 years old who acted as assistants to a ringside announcer named Melvin Phillips Jr. TKO and WWE did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Phillips, however, died in 2012. Jessica Rosenberg, attorney for Vince McMahon, of the Aiken, Gump, Strauss, Hauer, and Feld law firm, said in a statement to NBC News that the claims mentioned in the lawsuit, first reported by the New York Post, were false. More than 30 years ago, the columnist Phil Mushnick tried to make headlines with these same false claims. Those allegations were never proven and ultimately became the subject of a defamation lawsuit against Mr. Mushnick, Rosenberg said. The negligence claims against Mr. McMahon that were asserted rely on these same absurd, defamatory, and utterly meritless statements. That's all coming from his lawyer. The suit alleges the 5 identified claimants who were sexually assaulted not only at wrestling events, but also at hotels and other venues. Phillips lured and manipulated 12 and 13-year-old boys with the promise of meeting wrestling stars. The suit alleges that Phillips would abuse the claimants in his dressing room while recording the incidents with a video camera. The suit accuses the McMahons of long knowing of Phillips's peculiar and unnatural interest in young boys. The Ring Boy scandal is a sex scandal in the World Wrestling Federation, now known as the WWE, centered around allegations around ring announcer Mel Phillips had recruited teenage boys for the purposes of sexual exploitation. The scandal, which came at a time of turmoil for the WWF. At the same time, they were suspected of supplying illegal steroids to their wrestlers. WWE, known as the World Wrestling Federation, known then as the World Wrestling Federation, is a professional wrestling promotion based in Stamford, Connecticut, founded in 1953. In response to the Mushnick story, which I just briefly told you about, WWF issued a statement that would, quote, take responsible action regarding any legitimate claims filed through lawful channels. On March 2nd, 1992, Joyle, Patterson, and Phillips all resigned their roles at the company, and at the same time, Mushnick alleged that McMahon had telephoned him and said that Phillips had been initially dismissed in 1988 because he had a, quote, peculiar and unnatural relationship with young ring boys. Then he had been rehired several months later, and then he promised, when they rehired the guy that had an unnatural... Vince McMahon is admitting this, that he knew that this guy had this unnatural, peculiar relationship with ring boys. Vince McMahon rehired him under the promise that he would steer clear of kids.
This is a sick Negro.
On March 11th, the San Diego Union Tribune published an article that not only mentioned the allegations, but also surmised that the ongoing steroid use scandal and allegations by former WWF wrestler Barry Orton and former announcer Murray Hodgson against Joyle and Patterson. Story also includes allegations from another ring boy who alleged boys were getting propositioned and played with all of the time, and both Vince and Linda McMahon were aware. What is this here? On March 13th, Cole's attorney, Alan Fuchsberg, sent a draft copy of a legal complaint to the WWF seeking $3.5 million in restitution. 2 days later, they met with Vince McMahon and his wife, Linda, and they settled for $750,000. So they settled with the boys. Now, you know how I feel about the wrestling now. I know some of y'all get real offended because some people, grown-ass men, are fans of the wrestling. I was a fan of the wrestling, too, when I was a child. I know some people, they go to the wrestling matches, and I don't want to offend any of you people. I have my own opinions on the whole wrestling thing. Now, when I was a kid and you had the Junkyard Dog and you had Randy the Macho Man Savage and you had... who was the one? Adorable Adrian Adonis, who clearly was gay. You had a few others that had these personas. What's the man? He went to be the governor of Minnesota. Jesse the Body Ventura, wearing those tight spandex pants, walking around with a feather boa. A lot of that stuff was homoerotic, and you know that it is. You got a bunch of men wearing knee-high boots with tassels on them, running around in panties, and they're all oiled up, jumping all over each other. Come on. Seriously, the writing is on the wall. Imagine if there was no wrestling that desensitized people to men walking around wearing basically man panties, which are briefs, with shaved, oiled up bodies, jumping off the top rope and landing on each other. Oh my God, don't pin me. So the WWF and wrestling kind of desensitized us to that because like, oh no, these are strong macho men. But imagine in today's world, if there was no WWF, you saw a bunch of men all oiled up and shaved up, wearing man panties and knee-high boots, jumping on each other. I'm going to pin you. I'm going to pin you down so hard, and then the ref is going to come and make sure you don't get up. I'm not shocked by the pedophilic allegations and the settlements that were paid in the WWF. Y'all have heard me talk about this before. That whole thing is homoerotic to me. And it's weird because we'll look at things now and say, oh, that's indoctrinating our kids, or with LGBTQ people getting rights, or with gay marriage, or with same-sex couples adopting kids. I have no problem with that. Let me tell you why I have no problem with same-sex couples adopting kids. Because different sex couples are having the kids and don't want them. So if same-sex couples want to adopt some kids that different sex couples created, well, then let them adopt them. But we say, oh, all that is indoctrinating our kids to be gay. All this LGBTQ stuff. Or remember there was a bunch of shows, TV shows like Empire. Empire used to be real popular, but then it kind of changed into a gay love story just out of the blue. And there's been a few television shows that start off as one thing, but there's always man lovers in the shows. And people will use that as examples in modern societies. Look at they're indoctrinating our kids to be gay. You know what I really think did it? WWF wrestling. That to me is far more indoctrinating because it's covert. And now we come to find out that there's child sex abuse that Linda and Vince McMahon knew about. And I'm bringing this up because Linda McMahon is the Secretary of Education. And she knew and was complicit and signed off on settlements paid to, well, they were adult men by the time they got their settlements, but knew of people that they hired to work for the WWE and the WWF that were pedophiles. They knew it. And then they fired one guy, and then they brought him back under the promise that he'd steer clear of boys, which he did not do. So you have the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. So there's that documented pedophilia because you actually have statements from the victims in Jeffrey Epstein's files and the emails and the cases. So you have that pedophilia. But then you have a totally separate documented pedophilia ring with the WWE and the WWF, where Linda McMahon is now the Secretary of Education. So it is on both sides. in the Trump administration. And I'm just wondering why somebody, like maybe an advocate for children, maybe, or maybe, I don't know, a Christian evangelical U.S. senator or member of the House that is very, very homophobic and also very, very against children being abused by folks. Why aren't they coming out and saying Linda McMahon needs to go because the Republican Party does not need any more affiliations with pedophilia? McMahon is the former CEO of the WWE, which she co-founded with her husband, Vince. As head of the WWE, Linda McMahon oversaw its transformation from a wrestling entertainment company into a publicly traded media empire. She stepped down in 2009 to run for Senate, but she lost in Connecticut in 2010 and in 2012. As McMahon, who co-chairs Trump's transition team, vies to be confirmed as education secretary, which she was, a recent lawsuit raises questions about her care for children's safety in the WWE. The suit alleges McMahon, her husband, and the WWE and TKO Group Holdings, the league's parent company, knowingly allowed employee Melvin Phillips Jr. to use his position as ringside announcer to sexually exploit children. So they knew it because they fired him. And they hired him back under the promise that he was going to steer clear of the boys that they knew he was sexually abusing. They hired him back and he offended again. And now this woman, and maybe people don't care. Maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I know that a lot of standards have changed in this country, like the behavior of a president. Like Trump says a lot of stuff just on a random Friday that Barack Obama would never say, that Bill Clinton would never say, George Bush would never say. And I think we've just kind of changed the standard of the president. So is touching kids, is that okay now? Is that, we don't mind that? It's our, I mean, because, well, how were they touched? Maybe the kids wanted it. I don't know. Maybe they.
Whoa.
What?
The kids wanted it?
No one is seeming to care that there are proven pedophiles in and around and surrounding the Trump administration, meaning that the standard that has been changed for presidential behavior is reaching such a low that children are not safe. And this administration, ladies and gentlemen, is making policy on behalf of children. Linda McMahon is the Secretary of Education. One of the top priorities of any wealthy Western nation is the care and education of their children. And this woman knew about and was complicit in paying settlements to children that were harmed by a man that they knew was a pedophile because they fired him and then hired him back and said, well, don't touch the kids this time. And he touched the kids again. And she knew because she signed off on the settlement and now she's the Secretary of Education. So for me, it's just me. Maybe it's a me thing. I find that a little distasteful, if not egregious and disgusting and awful. And you would think that the moral party of the Republicans who love their Bibles and their Christianity, they would say, hey, she's just kind of associated with some stuff that, you know, that we don't like. I would expect some Republicans to say, yeah, we're really conservative and we don't like what she is being accused of and the settlements that she's paid. Let's not have her Secretary of Education. But at the same time, many years ago, I covered the sex abuse scandal of Catholic priests in the Milwaukee Archdiocese. It was so bad that I vowed to never talk about that story ever again. Because what I come to find out about the Catholic Archdiocese here in Milwaukee is they had shockingly detailed information on every single incident of a priest abusing a child in southeastern Wisconsin. They documented all of it word for word. They even talked about, well, this priest was accused of, and we have credible reason to believe that he did. So we sent him, like they documented all this stuff. I read it all on the air about 10 years ago. They would send him to a church-appointed psychologist, put him on like leave, okay? And then that priest that was a pedophile church-appointed psychologists. They gave them a little vacation. They assigned them to a different parish, and guess what those priests did? They offended again. And so guess what the archdiocese here in southeastern Wisconsin did? They removed them from that parish, sent them to another church-appointed psychologist, gave them another vacation, and reassigned them to another parish. And guess what? Guess what they did again? They did the same thing. Rembert Weakland, who used to be the archbishop, wrote a book, said, yep, we did it. I did it too. A whole bunch of it was going on. Yeah, a lot of it. And then you have these pedophilia connections on both sides all throughout the Trump administration. So if the evangelical right that adheres itself to the Republican Party is moral in every other respect, but it's immoral when it comes to protecting children, then I just don't understand why somebody would want that party in power. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Are you ready for open enrollment? Now through January 15th, you can explore affordable health insurance options if you don't already have coverage through your job, Medicare, or Medicaid. The Community Health Access Program, CHAP, helps residents find affordable plans and guides you through the enrollment process, connecting you with resources to support your family. CHAP is a program of the City of Milwaukee Health Department. Learn more at milwaukee.gov/CHAP. That is milwaukee.gov/CHAP, or calling 414-286-8620.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Hey, Truth Nation, it's Rhea Riley, and I'm here with Ashley Lucas from Associated Bank, and this is Making Your Money Work. So Associated Bank is launching a new program. Tell us more about it.
I'm really excited that our new Community Uplift Loan Program recently launched in early September. This is for business owners with annual sales under $1 million. So really our local businesses, our entrepreneurs, we provide lines of credit and business loans from $2,500 all the way to $50,000 with more flexible credit criteria. Anyone within our footprint can apply if they're looking for either a term loan or line of credit.
So anyone, so there's no other qualifications?
There are no other qualifications as long as our industry qualifies for our product.
Wow. Okay, and then as a business owner, how can I apply?
Well, you have to be in business at least a year. And what we use to make that decision is your 6 most recent bank statements. So we're not going to be asking for full financials. And the complete process from beginning to end takes about 5 business days. Everything is done directly online. Typically, we have a response from our underwriters within 24 hours.
And do I need to go to the bank for this, or can I apply online?
Well, you can go to the bank if you'd like, but you can actually go directly on our website, associatedbank.com, and apply for our Community Uplift Loan Program. Or you can apply directly over the phone with our virtual relationship hotline team. They're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-270-7725.
This has been Making Your Money Work, brought to you by Associated Bank.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number, for those of you who are so inclined to, I don't know, call or text, is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. At 11 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Mike Todoritis, who is the City of Milwaukee Health Commissioner, and Jefflin Brown, who is the Clinical Services Deputy Commissioner. We're going to be talking about some healthcare things and open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act. We're going to talk about the expiration of the premium tax credits and what that means. And if you need help signing up for healthcare, they got a bunch of resources for you. And also, Milwaukee Breast and Cervical Cancer Awareness Program, the Well Women Program. We're going to be discussing that as well because we want you to be healthy now. You got to be healthy so you can participate in the struggle for justice and fairness and whatever the hell else we're struggling with. When I sit back and just take off my broadcaster hat, because I gotta read stuff and then I gotta provide the information. I don't always have time to like process it because I gotta get the information out there and try and put together somewhat of a coherent radio program. But then if I ever have the moment to just sit back and take in how despicable the actions and the behaviors of this administration is, I literally cannot believe it. I can't believe it. And I think there's so much outrage that people don't even know where to put it, because we've also come to find out, think of the worst thing that a president can do that offends everybody, that violates the rules, that runs afoul of the law, that is unconstitutional. Think about things a president can say and do that are as immoral as they are illegal. Things that offend members of the other party and things that offend members of his party. Imagine a president saying and doing things and acting in a way that diminishes his party's chance of getting elected in midterm elections or in future presidential elections. Imagine a person saying all this and you can't stop him. That there are no guardrails, there are no more checks and balances. I never thought in a million years. And now we know that the emperor, which is the United States government and the U.S. Constitution, and all of these laws and all these rules and all of this Constitution, it doesn't mean anything if nobody is going to enforce it. But here's what's crazy. Most of us, if we even got remotely close to this level of malfeasance, we would lose our jobs, we would lose our homes, and we would probably lose our freedom. They enforce the law selectively. If it was us, we'd all be in trouble. We'd all be in prison. But if it's them, they just sit back. But the allegations that involve the molestation of children, and I'm just over here just like, I'm not talking about it casually. Obviously, I'm upset about it. But the fact that it's just allowed to happen, and that there's the military in American cities, mostly because Donald Trump does not trust us. And there will be more military in the American cities to either round up people before they even do research on who these people are, rounding them up and saying that they're illegal. You have a number of families that do not even know where their loved ones are, have no idea. I was watching some story yesterday where a man was rounded up. And here's something that people need to know. If you're in this country illegally or not, or if ICE happens to detain you, what a lot of people are doing, and they got to stop doing this. I don't know if I'm telling people information that's going to get them in more trouble or get them further harmed. I don't know. But what happens is someone who is suspected of being illegal gets picked up. And the authorities want to identify this person. They give a fake name because they're afraid. Because if you're in the country illegally, you're probably operating under a fake name anyway. You might have documents. You might have a driver's license. You might have a social security card that's not your name. So what the individuals are doing is they're giving a fake name. And so when family members are inquiring of the Department of Homeland Security and other federal agencies that are disappearing people, the Department of Homeland Security has no record of the name that the family is giving. Because if your name is, let's say your name is Jonathan, but you use the name Eduardo. I mean, it's kind of backwards, but whatever. The family's like, no, they detained our father, our grandfather, our uncle, Jonathan, and the Department of Homeland Security said, we ain't got no Jonathan here. We don't have it. And they literally don't, because the name that person had on their documents was Eduardo. And they are using that really unconventional loophole to say they have no record of people that they are detaining. I don't think y'all understand how incredibly dangerous this is. Now, here's the thing. They have a ton of information of these individuals that they're detaining. They have biometric data. They have photographs of them. But when families are inquiring, because they want to get their family member a lawyer, maybe that person had a visa. Maybe they had the right to be in this country. And maybe it was all just a misunderstanding because some of these Department of Homeland Security sweeps, they grab everybody and they sort them all out later. And in some of those cases, American citizens have been caught up in the dragnet and people who have legitimate work visas to be here. But then there's individuals who are here very much illegally that are giving fake names. If you give a fake name, that you're done. They're going to say that you don't even exist, even though we know that they exist. They have an inventory of all the people. They've got photographs. They've got fingerprints. They've got biometric data. And in this unlawful administration, I don't know if Americans appreciate how incredibly dangerous it is. And I'm saying all that to say this. There's nothing we can do about it. What are we going to go march? Sure. Come on. Let's go march. That's not going to return anybody. That's not going to allow people to have due process. That is the part I think that gets me, because there's no way I can't be affected by all of these things that are happening. And it's all happening simultaneously. It's like, what do you even focus on? Like, what is the most pressing priority? I guess it's the price of eggs. I guess it's, people are being detained and they're being disappeared and they're being deported. They're shooting down boats off the coast of Venezuela. We don't even know who's on the damn boats. But as long as eggs are expensive, well, then that's where we got to put our focus. It blows my mind. And like, how do you get back to any semblance of normal? Normal would be maybe having people in the administration or in a future administration that aren't connected to pedophilia. We got to start with something we can actually accomplish, right? So let's begin, because we have to try and get back to normal, even though I think we all know that normal doesn't even exist. We said that during COVID. Oh, I can't wait to get back to normal. Well, we're going to close the businesses and we're going to stand 6 feet apart and we're going to wear these stupid ass masks and we're going to get 77 vaccinations and then we're going to return to normal. Some of my favorite restaurants still ain't open on Monday. Damn. Return to normal. Which means you're only open Tuesdays and Sundays from midnight to 3 a.m. Well, because of COVID, we never really could return our staffing to normal. Normal is gone. Ain't no normal no more. Want to go get me a sandwich. What if I want a veggie wrap Monday when I'm done with the radio show? Sorry, sir, we're not open. How are you not open? You answered the door. Yeah, I know that I answered the door at the restaurant, but we're not open because COVID doesn't allow us to have Monday people because we can't hire them because they're gone. It's awful. And what's normal even going to... I'm going to take a break, come back. You got to have a meltdown every now and again. There's nothing that we can do. And here's what's crazy. It hasn't even been a year. 2025 kind of sucked. I mean, no, it did. I'm giving 2025 so far. We still got what? A month and 10 days. I can't wait for this joker to be over. I can't wait for 2025 to be finished. I'm going to give 2025 a 3 out of 10. I almost died on the air. I didn't take enough time off, actually. I should still be out. Oh, all right, we're going to regroup. I need a sip of water. Ricky, you being quiet today. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know if I need...
Wait, what? That's a good thing. I'm back here doing a lot of work, making your show sound good and look beautiful, my boy. No, it's a team effort. This is our show. Remember what Evan said in the meeting? This is our show, not just your show. This is our show.
He didn't mean that.
He meant it. Oh, yeah. He meant it.
All right, I got to take a commercial break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM, where I guess it's me and Ricky's show. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. It's College Month on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholar get those free scholarship dollars. All month long, we'll be highlighting local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships each year. So be sure to tune in to 1017 The Truth's College Month so you can learn how your scholar can get those scholarship dollars. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Marquette University and Educators Credit Union.
Tracy, going back to the process, and as it relates specifically to the partnership that Old National Bank has with Housing Resource, what does the process consist of when coming through this program?
It's a referral process. We work with clients that first-time homeowners that may not have the counseling that they need. They may not have the equity, the down payment that they need. So we refer them to our partners like HRI or Housing Resources, Inc., because we recognize that those organizations, they have the resources, they have the tutorial documentation and all of those things that are necessary for first-time homeowners that don't know the process, may not know the system, may not know what's required for home ownership. So working with Housing Resources, Inc. and other partnerships that we have like through WIDA has been very, very advantageous, not only for us, but also the organizations, but also for the community.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
When severe weather hits and the power goes out, do you have a plan? For reliable power and peace of mind, propane can do that. It only takes about 10 seconds for a propane-powered generator to restore power to your home. So no matter what Mother Nature has in store, you know you're prepared. Learn more at WIPGA.org. This message is sponsored by your local propane provider and the Wisconsin Propane Education and Research Council.
Harley-Davidson is an iconic Milwaukee brand, recognized worldwide for its innovation and strength. For many years, Harley-Davidson has partnered with Junior Achievement to prepare the future workforce of our community. Together, we're ensuring young people discover the career path that's right for them. To learn more, visit wisconsin.ja.org.
Join Marketplace Wisconsin on December 10th and 11th, where contract-ready small businesses meet buyers, partners, and mentors. Register now at marketplacewisconsin.com. That is marketplacewisconsin.com.
Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
House Democratic leadership said yesterday they've been in touch with the U.S. Capitol Police and the House Sergeant at Arms to protect a group of lawmakers after President Trump appeared to suggest that their comments were punishable by death. So you have the President of the United States threatening Democratic lawmakers with death. So there was someone that says, so Trump posted this stuff on Truth Social, right? And then someone said, yeah, George Washington would have hung them, and Trump reposted that. Ladies and gentlemen, now I know some of y'all don't like the Democrats because, I don't know, they're weak and their messaging sucks and the Democrats don't get anything done. Trump is threatening to kill people. Whether he kills them or not, I mean, no, he probably won't. But, there's a lot of crazy people in this country, and we got something like 400 million guns. It's not adding to civility. I think he wants something to happen because, remember, we're only a year in. And things might escalate. They may get worse. And I think he wants something to happen, because one thing to know about him is that he rules in chaos. He loves when things are chaotic and out of hand. That is when he can use an iron fist. That is what he wants. And he's pushing and pushing. You can only push people so far. You can only push people so far. Trump considerably ramped up the severity of his rhetoric against Democrats on Thursday after a group of military veterans serving in Congress released a video encouraging our service members to resist any unlawful orders. This is really bad and dangerous for our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. Then he says, in all capital letters, seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up. Why I think it's dangerous that he says that is because he controls the Department of Justice, and they will investigate anybody for anything. They even tried to make up some charges of real estate fraud against Letitia James, who brought charges against and got convictions of Donald Trump in New York, 34 felonies. You guys know that Donald Trump cannot practice real estate ever again for the rest of his life in his home state. And because he was found guilty, not because of some Democrat conspiracy, because of, the evidence, Donald Trump then charged his Department of Justice to try and find crimes to charge Letitia James with. Of course, they found nothing. But if you are under investigation from the federal government, your life is hell. The amount of money you're going to have to spend just on attorneys could bankrupt you. And this is what he's doing, and we can't stop him. He sent the military to U.S. cities, and we can't stop him. He ordered the pause of SNAP benefits for 42 million people, and no one could stop him. Now, hold on, Al. I know some days when the topics seem to be heavy, you go in a little hard now, so let's just not go in too hard today. Let's go in soft.
Big pause.
Al, you ready to go in soft?
I'll go in semi-soft, but I'll go in soft.
All right, we're ready. Just
if that'll work.
Go slow.
You ready?
All right, well, I'm always ready. I stay ready. That's why I never get caught with my pants down, because that's by choice, not force. Moving forward, I feel they want to make pedophilia normal, because it's all about taking the innocence of the youth. Also, I heard from some Republicans, they didn't care who got raped, because they felt it was things that was more important. But I do know when it comes to a lot of racist people, their biggest turnoff is rape. But what I find to be so odd, I'm surprised nobody called in like Al from Sherman Park or Allenz or Prince or White Widow, because all the people that's getting caught for rape by force are white men. These are not illegals. And I would like to ask them is how do they feel that they voted for somebody who used hate? And how would they like it if they use hate against somebody that they're effing because they voted for it? And
Al, can we leave it there? Because I got to take a break and I got guests coming in. But
no problem. Have a good weekend.
Maybe call back later. Oh, look, and it's Alan calling. We can't take his call either. I got the health department coming in here right now. We got guests. Y'all got to be on your best behavior now, okay? We're going to talk about health and healthcare and open enrollments, okay? The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 1017 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Truth to Power is your platform, and on my show, our community always has a voice. There is no topic that is off limits, and I always give you my authentic opinions on how I feel, because keeping it real is the only way I know how to get down. Listen to Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, every day from noon to 1 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube at 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to host of the Dunker Spot, Nekias Duncan. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
A TUC. It's called the Senate Civil Suits for Unauthorized Data Seizures. And the continuing resolution that had to be voted on in order to open the government authorizes U.S. senators to file civil lawsuits against the U.S. government, including the Department of Justice, for up to $500,000 in damages per violation if federal law enforcement seizes or subpoenas their phone or other data without prior notification. Hold on, wait a minute. If you have been accused of a crime and there's evidence and probable cause, and the federal government or any investigating agency gets a warrant from a judge to seize your cell phone records, there's nothing you can do about that.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon. Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth, where strong voices meet strong opinions.
Tell your kids who were supposed to be the seventh generation that Paw Paw's an idiot because Paw Paw decided he wanted to be Make America Great, but meanwhile, the Chinese ain't buying soybeans from us no more because of policies Donald Trump put in, and they voted for us. You know, I don't know what we're gonna do. I know what you should have did. You should have voted for somebody that wasn't gonna put tariffs out there. I love God, but God can't save you from nonsense. You don't deserve a bailout. You can't sit here and vote one way, and then when your economy gets decimated, your way of life gets destroyed, you want to pray to God? God didn't tell you to go to that poll and vote against your own best interest. That was your own damn problem. That was you. But don't ask for prayer when you block your own blessing. That's why I don't feel bad for these farmers. You voted for this, and now you reap what you sow.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace, every weekday from 12 to 1. Streaming live on YouTube and on 1017 The Truth. Breaking news, weather, entertainment, and sports. We have it all here. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Okay, I said we're going to have some people here from the health department, but they're going to be here soon. Very soon. So here's who I'm worried about. I'm worried about some of the more outspoken and vocal opponents of Donald Trump that happens to be Democrats and also happens to be African Americans, and also Democrats that are African Americans that also represent districts that are in the South. Like, I'm worried about their safety. A lot of you got to know Jasmine Crockett throughout the year 2024 as she was a very busy surrogate speaking on behalf of Kamala Harris. In fact, she probably was on 1017 The Truth at least 3, if not 4 times. I rather enjoy talking to her because she's smart as a whip. She's incredibly articulate. She knows the issues. She is very swift with her rebukes whenever there's a committee hearing talking to or chastising a member of the Trump administration. Like, she's our fighter. She is our go-getter, but I worry about her safety because there's something about America that's very ugly. It's very dark, but it's also a part of who this nation is, and I wish that we could extinguish it, but we can't. It's in our blood. It's in our cells. It's in our neurons and our corpuscles. I don't even know what a corpuscle is, but violence is deeply rooted in all of it. It is always the undertone and the undercurrent. Sometimes it's violence in cities. Sometimes it's violence in suburbs. Sometimes it's violence in the movies and the TV shows and the video games, and it's violence in the music. You can't escape it. It is everywhere. And it's used as a political tool all of the time. And I'm worried about Jasmine Crockett. Have we thought about what our response would be if one of ours gets hurt? Have we thought about that? I don't want it to happen because it's happened a lot. People that are great leaders, that are agents of change, get disappeared. Could have been John F. Kennedy. Could have been his brother Bobby. Could have been Martin Luther King. Could have been Malcolm. Representative Jasmine Crockett said yesterday that the U.S. Capitol Police responded to an incident where a person appeared at her Washington, D.C. office and, quote, made white supremacist threats and hand gestures. No one was hurt in the incident, Crockett said in the statement. She credited Capitol Police for their swift response. Crockett condemned the incident and said that, quote, this cannot become the norm. Jasmine, it's the norm. It's the norm. Who are we going to elect to fix this? More importantly, who are we going to elect to fix us? I think a part of this nation is very broken. I think so. I think we, the body politic, I think there's clearly something wrong with me. I'm the first one to admit that. There's no way that you can be normal and live through this. This has to be affecting us some kind of way. Maybe in what we're being desensitized to, maybe in what we are constantly being exposed to. Like there's going to be some kind of psychological impact or political impact or policy impact or campaign impact on all of this. There has to be. How do we even find a person that wants to even be in government anymore? Crockett condemned the incident and said this cannot be the norm, directing her criticism toward President Trump. She goes on to say, we're living in a time where political violence is being fueled from the very top, said Crockett, a high-profile congressional critic of Trump, who has drawn the president's attention. When the president of the United States spread hate and lies, when he targets his political opponents, when he openly calls for the death of sitting members of Congress, he is putting a literal target on our backs. Gabby Giffords, there was an attempted assassination. She's messed up. I think she can talk now. We remember when Gabby Giffords, and there was I can't think of the woman's name. It was a Republican member of Congress that she displayed a map. I cannot think of this woman's name. I'm sure one of you will because you'll probably Google it. But there was a Republican member of Congress that put up a map of the United States and put literal bullseye targets on the congressional districts represented by members that wanted gun control. And so this Republican representative put bullseye targets on this map of the congressional districts of Democrats, and a crazy person took that literally, and they tried to kill Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. Her husband is Mark, I can't think of his last name. It's not Giffords, but he's a senator from Arizona, and he had to just stay with his wife while she got rehabilitated because she got shot in the head and she lost her ability to walk and to speak. And that was like 10 years ago. The rhetoric is worse now. Was it worth it? Y'all couldn't just vote for Kamala? And we could have just been mad at Kamala not doing policy right, but she wouldn't be threatening to kill people. Kamala wouldn't have named pedophiles to lead the Department of Education. You know whose name is not in the Epstein files? Kamala Harris. And didn't we know that Trump's name was in the Epstein files when he was running last year? Why wasn't that the line to not be crossed? We don't want somebody who's in the files to be president. Is it worth it? And maybe it is. Maybe we're getting something that I'm not seeing. Maybe this presidency is it's great. But I'm not seeing what it was. Y'all couldn't just, Kamala wasn't perfect. She was a woman. I guess that probably her biggest fault. But it was that hard to vote for her, huh? That we have, because I'm looking at the alternative. If he wouldn't have gotten elected and, oh no, $50,000 for African Americans to start businesses. Oh no, continuing to forgive student debt. Oh no, extending Affordable Care Act tax credits and subsidies. How terrible would that have been? Not sinking boats off the coast of Venezuela where we don't even know who's on the boats. Not sending $40 billion to Argentina. Didn't he buy the United States government purchase beef to make beef prices go down? Correct me if I'm wrong here. I read a lot of stuff and sometimes I don't keep it all straight. Didn't he buy beef from a foreign country but didn't buy beef from American cattle farmers? That's like if my wife and I own an Arby's. Why are you looking at me, Rick? Everybody loves Arby's. Somebody's keeping Arby's in business. And first of all, can we just take a side note on Arby's? A beef and cheddar, I'll eat that for breakfast. Those slap. You don't like beef and cheddar? They put the cheddar on the beef.
I like Arby's. They got the meats, but I'm not going to eat that for breakfast.
I'm just saying it's very delicious.
It is delicious.
All right. So
Arby's got the meats.
You want the meats?
Kind of.
Let's say my wife and I own an Arby's. And I tell my wife, I think I'm going to eat at McDonald's. That's offensive because we own an Arby's. If we have cattle farmers here in the United States, why would you be buying beef from the Argentinians? What, our beef isn't good enough? American beef is fantastic, isn't it? We got some of the best beef on the planet. Beef is delicious. It's hearty. It's full of protein. It's delicious. You can eat it pretty much any time of the day, but I don't know why Donald Trump chose to buy beef from somewhere. What's wrong with the beef you got at home? Why you got to go somewhere else for beef? You got beef right here. You ain't got to go out looking for beef from somewhere else. Why you got to get foreign beef? American beef is perfectly fine. What, our beef ain't good enough? Our beef used to be good enough. You used to love it. Yeah, you did. Well, I remember when you used to love our beef. Oh, but no, now you got to find some Latino beef now. Okay. When the president of the United States spread hate and lies, when he targets his political opponents, when he openly calls for the death of sitting members of Congress, he's putting a literal target on our backs. The president should be committed to unity, not more division, she said. Crockett added that she will not be intimidated and she will not be silenced. Goes on to say, but we cannot pretend that this is normal, her statement concluded. When leaders promote hate, hate shows up. Sometimes right at our door. Crockett referred to Trump's Truth Social post on Thursday, in which he called a group of Democrats traitors for urging military service members to disobey unlawful orders in a video. Crockett was not among the lawmakers targeted in the video. This is really bad and dangerous for our country. This is what Trump said. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. And then in capital letters, he says, seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up, Trump posted, followed by a subsequent post that reads, seditious behavior punishable by death, death in all capital letters. Democrats condemned Trump's posts, with House Democratic leaders urging the president to delete the post and recant his violent rhetoric before someone gets killed. We don't expect Donald Trump to recant his words, but why wouldn't other Republican members of Congress condemn what Trump said, even when Trump is threatening to kill their colleagues? Party doesn't matter. Let's take party out of it just for 1 second. Wouldn't a single Republican member of the House or the Senate say, yeah, dude, you can't threaten to kill people? Because guess what may happen if we don't treat this as the plague that it is. A Democrat is going to get elected president at some point. the Democrats are going to have control of the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. And what if that Democratic president is threatening the lives of a Republican member of Congress? Democrats would be the first ones to say, no, Democratic president, you can't do that. Don't do that. But the Republicans don't even have the courage to tell Donald Trump he should not be threatened. Because if it happens to the Democrats today, it'll be the Republicans tomorrow. Okay, we're going to talk to Mike Tortoritis on the other side from the Milwaukee Health Department. It's open enrollment time. Go get you some insurance because you're going to need it. And get a flu shot, too, while you're at it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
This is Lorenzo.
Lorenzo, you just won $5,000!
What would you do with $5,000?
That's great for a couple months.
Yes!
There you go.
Yes.
That just made me happy.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Can we hold something?
Y'all holler back at y'all.
I got money now. This is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. As an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
You make time for everyone else. Family, work, everything in between. Now it's time to take care of you. If you're 45 to 64 and don't have insurance, or your plan doesn't cover screenings, you may qualify for free mammograms and Pap tests through the City of Milwaukee Health Department's Breast and Cervical Cancer Awareness Program. Call 414-286-2133 to see if you're eligible. Real self-care starts with your health, and early detection saves lives. Funded by Wisconsin Well Woman. Learn more at milwaukee.gov/wellwoman. Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Heart of Canal Street, for over 30 years, our hearts have been set on making a difference for children in our community. Now through December 10th, we invite you to share your heart by playing the Canal Street Bingo game at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Every time you play this special bingo game, you're helping to raise funds for children's charities in southeastern Wisconsin. Learn more at potawatomi.com/heart.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back to the program. As promised, we have Mike Tortoritis in the studio. He's People are going wild here at the 3rd Street Market Hall for the City of Milwaukee Health Commissioner, and rightfully so, Mike. First of all, welcome to the program. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. I appreciate it.
Lots happening. Open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act. Let's dive into that. Let's talk about that, because people may see some changes. So even if you were an enrollee in previous years, you might see some shocking premium increases, number one. Number two, if you are not enrolled and you would like to get enrolled, a lot of folks may not have the information on how to do that, right?
That is correct.
Let's begin with the Community Healthcare Access Program and what that does specifically in relation to signing up at the marketplace.
Yeah, that's a great segue. And I think this is an interesting time for the city. And as many of us are following the federal government, there's a lot of dysfunction and bombs being thrown both ways. And this is a kind of an odd moment for the city to be able to, not odd, that's the wrong word. This is the great moment for us to be able to help folks here in our city with their needs. And there's a lot of misinformation going on around health insurance and what's happening, what's not happening. And we have an incredible program that's free of charge for city residents to get help answering those questions. As you mentioned, open enrollment is going on right now to get your health insurance set up for next year. And with the lack of federal action right now, there's a chance that everyone's premiums are going to be really expensive next year. And what we're really advocating is to make sure your information's up to date and to shop around. So our staff are equipped to look at all the different options and to look at your income and level of coverage that you're needing and help you make a plan to anticipate what's coming next year.
Does the City of Milwaukee Health Department have specialists or individuals on standby where if someone has a variety of questions, it could be Medicare or Medicaid related or Affordable Care Act related? Do you have individuals that can handle those inquiries from members of our city?
Oh, yes. Certified application counselors. And they are, calling ahead and making sure that they're available, are here to help you navigate all of those changes. I think there's a lot of planned changes coming to next year, as well as just kind of, again, misinformation out there. And the best option right now for everyone is to establish a relationship with the certified application counselor. Those should be free of charge. I think there's a lot of information we're hearing about people offering free services or, services at a cost, and you don't have to pay anything. You can always come to our health department. A lot of health systems have these certified application counselors as well. But the main thing is to seek those out, get that relationship built, so you have someone that you trust that can help you answer those questions for whatever kind of coverage you have right now.
Can we discuss premium increases? Because there's some confusion surrounding that. There is the non-renewal of some premium tax credits that existed in the past, but then there's also just natural and normal rises of healthcare coverage costs anyway. So can we kind of navigate our way through those?
So unfortunately, what we see every year in the insurance marketplace is the cost of coverage goes up. That's influenced by market dynamics. There isn't a lot of control around that. And then there's those subsidies that the Democrats and the Republicans in D.C. can't seem to get agreement on. So right now it's set to those subsidies would expire. And for folks that have relied on those subsidies to afford their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, what we're telling them is to really look at the level of coverage that they have currently right now and do not really rely on that auto renewal. So a lot of plans in the ACA have an auto renewal feature where they just whatever you had this year is what you get next year. Really recommending you make a plan to talk with one of our certified application counselors and ensure that you have the right level of coverage and you're not overpaying for what you're needing. Because we do anticipate for a lot of people that the coverage is going to go up. I don't have exact numbers. It's really dependent on the level of coverage that you have and your income. So everyone's going to see a lot of different changes. And yes, there will be planned increases, and then the subsidies not being renewed will also cause increases.
I know that we still have a tremendous number of individuals in our community that do not have health insurance for whatever reason. And let's say they're intimidated because, when it comes to people's health, they can be very nervous. What if someone is completely unfamiliar with the process? Can the certified application counselors walk people through every individual step of what they need to do to get enrolled in health insurance?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And the best part is it's a real human being that you can sit across from and have that conversation. And if there are challenges that you're having in, say, one of the ACA portals or other systems that you're logging into, they are actually equipped to help you in those portals as well. So you don't have to rely on calling a 1-800 number for the ACA or any of those other services. You can come to our clinics, you can talk to our staff, you can call them, and they will help you.
Are we giving them the phone number of 414-286-8620? Is that the number we're giving?
That is the number.
414-286-8620. If you are uninsured or confused about where to start with health insurance, a CHAP can help for free. I probably should define CHAP. Community Healthcare Access Program. That's CHAP. Call your CHAP.
Call your CHAP.
At 286-8620 and get all the information that you need. Michael Totoritis is in studio. He is the Commissioner of Health for the city of Milwaukee. Also, the Milwaukee Breast and Cervical Cancer Awareness Program, the Well Women Program that is going on right now. Mr. Totoritis, can you tell us about the Milwaukee Breast and Cervical Cancer Awareness Program?
Yes. This is another incredible free service that we offer for women, and typically the standard eligibility is between ages 45 and 64, but some individuals between the ages of 35 and 64 who need what's called the diagnostic mammogram, meaning that they've had a finding and need additional support. We help get access to free coverage for breast and cervical cancer screening and treatment. And it's the same level of care that someone with private insurance might access, but it's if you're qualifying through this program, we walk with you from the start to the finish of the screening, and if you do need treatment, we stay with you until the treatment is over too. So this is an incredible program, staffed by city residents, helping each other out, and it's a really great program to ensure you have access.
Of particular concern for women of color, and what we come to find out is that oftentimes if they receive a diagnosis, it is usually later and it makes treatment much more difficult. So I really want to encourage men, you got to get involved too, and encourage your wives and your many girlfriends that early detection is key. And a lot of these cancers are very, very treatable, but early detection is very, very important. Folks can call 414-286-8620 or milwaukee.gov/CHAP. Mike, are these free services? Because people might hear things related to healthcare and rising healthcare costs. These services that we are talking about right now with the cervical and breast cancer awareness, those are all no cost.
Everything completely free of charge. Our staff are equipped to support you in these moments. And most importantly, if you don't qualify, they know the marketplace of providers and insurance, as well as breast and cervical cancer screening. It can help you make a plan to move forward with the services you need.
You know, winter is upon us, Mike.
Yes.
And, wintertime, we're indoors more, and people get the colds and people get the flus. Can we please just give a plug for folks getting the flu shot? Because I still am arguing with people and wrestling with people, but now I have the health commissioner in the studio, and you are far more credible than I am on these matters. The importance of getting a seasonal flu shot.
Well, I have an even better, some folks appreciate stories, is I got the flu in my household a month ago. And my family came to visit on my wife's side, and they had both gotten their flu shots ahead of coming to visit. They did not get sick. The rest of my family, which we were scheduled to get our flu shot the week after we all got sick, so that was perfect timing by the universe. But my family members had no symptoms afterwards, which was awesome because I have two kids that are constantly producing germs. And, the one way I always frame these shots is they help you stay at school, they help your kids stay at school, they help you keep in at work. And they're just really good tools to help ensure that you stay in the game and are not out, during the holidays. Unless you don't like your family and you don't want to be around for the holidays, maybe don't get the flu shot. But if you do want to be around, I would say get the flu shot this year.
I recently turned 50, and with that comes a whole host of new vaccinations that I need to get. But let me be abundantly clear. I am not at all opposed to medical technology, and if there is a vaccine that I can get, I will get it. And maybe I credit never once testing positive for COVID to the fact that I was on and maintained that vaccine regimen because I didn't want to get the COVID. Because in the early days, you're like, oh, you're going to be on a respirator and you're going to die. Yep. I said, I don't want to be on a respirator or die, so I got my COVID vaccines. But I turned 50 and I got a shingles vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
And I got, I think there's a pneumonia something.
There is pneumonia.
So I went to get my... Because I've got a great relationship with my primary care physician. I'm glad that I do because I can be open and honest with him and he's open and honest with me. Because I used to have some doubts and some trepidation, as a lot of folks do 100%. About their doctor. And I said to him, Doc, are you trying to kill me? Because I hear sometimes you doctors are trying to kill us. Oh, Sherwin, don't be ridiculous. I said, say more about that. He was like, well, if I kill you, then you can't come and see me once a year, and I'm not going to make any money off of you. So I want to keep you around for as long as possible. And he and I were thick as thieves after that. So I got my pneumonia vaccine and my shingles vaccine at the same time.
Yep.
Not necessarily, recommended. Yeah. I usually tolerate vaccines well. And also, let's let folks know that you may feel a little bit ill.
You're feel a little crummy. I mean, it's interesting because it's all over the place. I have friends who get it and they're down for a day or two. And then I got my flu and COVID a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I was fine. I think I was a little groggy, but, nothing too bad. And I think the part that we've really been leaning into is making, to your point, you have a really good relationship with your provider. A lot of folks don't. And, I even have had struggles finding a good primary for the last 5 years. I finally feel like I have a good person, but call our health department. We have folks that will help answer the questions around their vaccine schedule, and it's a judgment-free space. So if you don't feel like you're getting the information that you want, no question is too crazy to ask. We've heard it all. The main thing is we want to keep people equipped with the right information, and when they're ready, they can get the shot that they feel is appropriate for them. But I think the key part we're really stressing is making sure people have access to good, credible information.
Does the city of Milwaukee maintain health care centers where people can go and get checkups and vaccinations, et cetera?
We don't have healthcare centers anymore. Those really went away under Mayor Norquist for a variety of reasons, but we do help people really through the chat program, make sure that they have access to providers and healthcare services. In addition, they help connect people to federally qualified health centers, too, that usually have same-day availability. So if you're questioning what's going on with your health, you can walk into most of those clinics and get same-day care coverage. And our department really serves as an interface to get you connected to the right people.
Certified application counselors are on standby to help you navigate through what is a bit of a changing landscape when it comes to health insurance. The phone number is 414-286-8620, and also the Milwaukee Breast and Cervical Cancer Awareness Program, the Well Women Program, is also available as well, and early detection is key. And you can access that by calling 414-286-2133 or learn more at milwaukee.gov/wellwomen. Mike, thank you, man. Appreciate. I feel healthier just with you being
beautiful
in the room because we're all vaccinated.
Yeah, right.
We're all very healthy. We appreciate you coming by, and this is very important information. I will make sure that our listeners stay abreast on all of the important healthcare updates.
Excellent.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Talk to these people in terms of how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person, depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the first-time home buyer education workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
Today's College Month Spotlight on the award-winning 1017 The Truth is brought to you by Marquette University, and I am so excited to be joined by sophomore at Marquette, Kennedy Luckett, who is the first Wade Scholarship Award recipient, and she received that award live on the Today Show. Let's get right into it. Why did you choose to become a Marquette Golden Eagle?
I chose to be a Golden Eagle because even when I was applying, the emails they sent me seemed very personable. They really wanted me there. They were even letting me know about like scholarship opportunities. They were letting me know about honors programs, so they let me know about honors and stuff like that. So it just seemed like they really wanted me to be there, and they really wanted to inform me about whatever all they had to offer. And that is very important to me because I didn't want to go to like a super large school. I wanted to be able to connect with my professors, which I've had the opportunity to do. I didn't want to seem too drowned out by everybody else. I wanted to really get the connections that I could be able to use, and Marquette definitely showed me they wanted me there and that they could do that.
Lastly, Kennedy, what would you tell a high school senior who is considering applying to Marquette why they should do it?
I would tell them if you want to come to a school that like genuinely cares about your best interests and is generally trying to make sure you succeed, this is the place to do it. If I personally haven't received like super long wait times whenever I'm trying to ask about something with administration or like admissions or whatever the case may be, if I have like a question to ask them, like I get a response back. And I know a lot of other schools, it takes like forever to even try to get a hold of somebody. So that's personally what I really enjoy about Marquette. If you want to make good connections, have some good friends, especially if you're a person of color, there are places for you there. I know it may seem a little intimidating, but there are, like, I'm in Urban Scholars, so that we have our own space where we can see each other and hang out and meet people who look like us, because community is also very important there, and Urban Scholars definitely does that for me.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The world can be a lonely place when you're just a name without a face. You can disappear without a trace and be
Welcome back to the program. Always great to talk to Mike, City of Milwaukee Health Commissioner Mike Totoritis. I probably should use his full name. Health is very important, ladies and gentlemen, especially us African American black people. You got to get a colonoscopy too if you're a black person. I think that our age guidance is younger than that for the Caucasian folk. I think they're not recommended to get their first colonoscopy until they're 50. With us, it is 45. It might even be 40 years old. And for those of you that are concerned or worried about the colonoscopy, oh, it's nothing, you guys. It sounds intimidating. It's not that big of a deal. You know what? Tory Lowe, he got his first colonoscopy a couple of years ago. Now, and I'm glad that he talked about it. I'm really glad he did. He was very open and honest. He was a little bit nervous about it, too. He was nervous. I remember having a conversation with Tory about it, because at that point, it ain't nothing but just a nice nap on a Saturday afternoon for me. I think I've had 3 colonoscopies so far. Tory did have his first one. I'm glad that he did, because the people that listen to him and the people that look up to him and follow him, I hope that he encouraged them to do so. It is a very preventable and treatable type of cancer. In fact, a lot of times you're probably going to be perfectly fine, but this is something that you want to be out ahead of. And let me tell you why. We lost our Black Panther to colon cancer. Chadwick Boseman died at the age of 42. That shocked all of us. These kinds of health ailments impact African Americans much more severely. I want you all to be healthy, because I need people to yell at. Because if you guys are not healthy, then I'm not going to be able to yell at you. And you need to be able to stay healthy to fight back on what the hell is going on in our damn society. All right, I feel like I need to check the YouTube commentary. I haven't checked in with those folks in a while. Well, LaRon just said The Milwaukee Police Department has just found a 3-year-old boy around 28th and Custer who was nonverbal. Will you please, people, please check your houses and see if you're missing a 3-year-old. How do you lose a child? How do you just... What a 3-year-old just got the keys and got in the Chevy? Hey, keep us apprised, LT, since you're the one that told us that the 3-year-old boy around 28th and Custer is missing. If any of you are driving around that area right now, because some of you are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on your radio in your vehicle, if you see a 3-year-old, well, I guess you can't just grab any 3-year-old you see. Right? That's because what if it's the wrong 3-year-old? Now you're an abductor, and you don't want to do that. They'll put you in jail for that. Maybe if you see the child, call 911 and say, hey, there's an unaccompanied 3-year-old that Sherwin was talking about. Melody says, I was at the health department in the Zeidler building getting results of the test done at MPS school for lead. No one was there. Everyone's still working from home. Has that changed? People back in the office yet? Melody, when was that? And I guess to answer that question, call the health department. I got the phone number right here. 414-286-8620. Don't ever go down to a city department or a city office without calling. Don't do that. Because they probably still got COVID hours too. So go call first before you... What is this? Buttons there. She, her, they, he, him. Training us to only say they. Buttons for free at the health department. Woke. What are you talking about? Buttons. What's a button? Ricky, what is this woman talking about? You don't know. What are you doing? You look like you're busy. Well, then go back to doing what you're doing.
I'm working and I'm eating.
Oh, eating what? You
Food.
You better not be eating tamales.
I could have went up there and got it, but I didn't have enough time, so I just got sushi.
When in the hell did you have time to get sushi, Rick?
I'm like the wind, baby. Real quick.
You must have brought it. You left here and bought sushi in the market hall? No, you couldn't have.
No.
So you brought it?
No. I ordered it ahead of time on my phone.
Yeah, but when did you leave this show? I didn't even see you leave. Did somebody bring it?
You're working. Look at you.
Well, since you leave, go get the tamales then.
No, I can't go all the way upstairs. That's too far. And 9 times out of 10, it's already gone. That was like an hour ago. Wouldn't know that if you read your emails.
I read the email, but ain't nothing I can do. I'm stuck here. All I got is 3 minutes. I have to do everything in 3 minutes. That's all I have between segments is 3 minutes. You the one that need this. If it ain't no tamales up there, then I'll be very upset. I love a good tamale.
You can go to Salito Lindo.
No, I ain't going. No, I don't. They don't make restaurant tamales. Aren't good. You got to go to the Spanish Hood for tamales. And in fact, I went to a place because for a while I was on a tamale kick. I went to El Rey's, and they were so-so. Went to Shermack, 5 out of 10. But I found this place on like South 13th Street in the back of this, it's like a bodega. And I was told that is where they have the best tamales. I don't even remember the name of the place, but it was actually an African-American man that told me that this place has the best tamales in Milwaukee. It's a grocery store, a little grocery store on South 13th Street. And let me tell you how Latino this grocery store was. So it was MS-13 dudes just standing around, and they looking at me, and I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them like, I ain't got no beef with y'all. But then there was also people that I swear were ICE lookouts. They were just, you could tell that they were looking out for ICE. If you see people that look like they're spying to make sure that ICE doesn't deport people, those are going to be some good tamales. If you just feel like the people are undocumented, the food is going to be fantastic.
It's kind of racist, ain't it?
No, it's not. Because I protect undocumented people. If an ICE person came and said, get out of the way, I'm going to detain all these people. I said, no, I'm going to say, no, you're not. Get back, ICE people. Because if you deport them, where am I going to get my tamales from? I would stand in ICE's way. You're not going to deport anybody on my watch. But if you go to a Mexican restaurant and the only English they know is the menu and how to take your order, the food is going to slap every single time. Oh, and you can tell because sometimes the server will come over and they'll like their greeting sounds like perfect English. And of course it does because they say, oh, hello, good afternoon, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm doing fine. How's your day going? What do you have going on? And I realize that I've exhausted their English with the greeting. That's how I know the food is going to be fantastic. You want people that don't speak English. However, Americanized Mexican food is good too. Chi-Chi's is now coming back. I received an article saying that there is a Chi-Chi's that is open in Minneapolis. I heard rumors that they were going to bring a Chi-Chi's to southeastern Wisconsin. But here's the thing. If they don't, I'll take a road trip. I will drive to Minneapolis to go to a Chi-Chi's just for the nostalgia of it. And also, per an article that you sent me this week, Ricky, Sizzler is coming back. The famed steakhouse from the 80s and the 90s is coming back. I don't think that article said where they were going to build a Sizzler, but there used to be a Sizzler on 76 and Good Hope many
that was one on
ago.
like Mayfair Road.
That I wouldn't know. It was maybe a Ponderosa. You remember
No,
Ponderosa?
I think that was a Sizzler.
Might have had one on Mayfair Road. I don't know. Definitely had one on 76 and Good Hope. Bring it back to Sizzler. JD the Poet says, Sherwin is racist. I'd still like to hear your Asian accent. All right. You ready? You guys don't get mad at me.
Told you were racist.
No, I'm not. I can't be.
Okay.
And I don't like when people say, oh, I can't be racist. I got friends of whatever race is. No. I'm not racist because I don't believe that a particular race is superior to another. I don't believe that one race, whatever race, should be dominating another just because of their race. That's stupid to me. I don't support racist policies. I don't support prejudice or bigotry. Now, what I will do is make fun of everybody. I poke fun at race because it's really, really funny. But okay. Since there's a request for my Asian accent, how about I do this? I'll take us to break in my finest Asian accent. Well, what kind of Asian do you want now? There's many flavors. Vietnamese, Korean, Laotian, Cambodian, Nepalese, Indian, Chinese, Japanese. Pick an Asian. What kind of Asian do you want to hear? Okay, you ready? I'll just do my generic Asian. Unless you have a favorite, Ricky. Is there a particular flavor of Asian whose accent, maybe Vietnamese, maybe a Thailand people? Here we go. I'm going to send us to break in my Asian accent. Here we go. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back after these messages.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. On Saturday night, the Milwaukee Panthers continue their road trip as they head to Kansas to take on the Wichita State Shockers.
Right elbow, Hubbard at the top, 5 on the shot clock, 1-on-1 with Petty. High on the left with 2, driving, baseline, 16-footer is pure at the shot clock buzzer. Oh, Seth Hubbard.
Scott Warris has the coverage Saturday starting at 5:30 on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 6 o'clock.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Gina Della and her team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin always have the winning game plan. Check out the championship caliber play call this month. A whole house of beautiful, new, energy-efficient Pella windows for as low as $297 a month. And get this, 0% interest for up to 6 years. That's like running a drive that keeps moving the chains with no penalties and no interest. And I can tell you from my experience, Pella windows actually stop the drafts. You'll stay comfortable no matter how cold it gets outside. Think about it. Energy savings, comfort, and a great monthly payment you can actually manage. That's why I trust Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and why this is the right time to make your move. Call today and schedule your free consultation at PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 11/30 of 2025.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. To learn more about how you can take your first steps in buying your forever home, visit associatedbank.com/lending. That's associatedbank.com/lending. Or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Every child deserves a school that sees their brilliance. At Milwaukee College Prep, they believe in high expectations, strong character, and academic excellence starting as early as age of 3. MCP scholars continue to outperform their peers across Milwaukee. And the best part about it all, Milwaukee College Prep is tuition free. If you're looking for a school that partners with you, challenges your child, and prepares them for college and beyond, Milwaukee College Prep is the place. Visit MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com to learn more. That's MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
Harley-Davidson is an iconic Milwaukee brand, recognized worldwide for its innovation and strength. For many years, Harley-Davidson has partnered with Junior Achievement to prepare the future workforce of our community. Together, we're ensuring young people discover the career path that's right for them. To learn more, visit wisconsin.ja.org.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
There's nothing else to do. Oh, it's in color. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are hazel. And soft as clouds. I often kiss you when there's no one else around. I got your picture. I got your picture. I'd like a million of your aura.
The song is called I'm Turning Japanese. Did y'all really think I was going to do a Japanese Asian accent? There's no way that I would do that. I would not. And JD says I make fun of everybody except for the Asians and the Jews. Don't you ever make fun of our beautiful Jewish angels. Don't do it. You treat them with love and respect. Christians, beat up on the Christians. You better, don't you touch the Jewish people. They're chosen. They're chosen for a reason. Aren't we black people Jewish too? Aren't we? Didn't we become Israelites? Well, we've been a lot of things. African-American, black. We're Moors. We're Hebrew, black Hebrew. Isn't that like a group? Hebrewites, Israelites, we're things, a lot of things. We also were here apparently before Columbus. That's a newer one. I never really read that in any history books, that Africans were here like 1,000 years ago or something. So I don't think we really know who we are. Earlier I said I was going to give you guys the demographics of the U.S. Armed Forces in response to the U.S. Coast Guard downgrading racist symbols like nooses and swastikas as things that are potentially divisive instead of removing individuals from the military ranks that display them. The Navy, believe it or not, is the most racially diverse. It is 63% white and 37% other racial and ethnic minorities. Oh, I didn't even give you guys the title to the show, the answer, the most dangerous minority. It's not who you think. It's rich people. Not that wealthy people are inherently bad. Here's where I think we fall into a little bit of trouble with them. Donald Trump has surrounded himself with some very, very wealthy people, and it just seems to me that they are out of touch with common people. They're not impacted by the rising cost of health care. They're not impacted by groceries. Think about the last time Donald Trump was in a grocery store pushing a shopping cart. He probably has never grocery shopped a day in his life. Think about that. When you are so wealthy that you cannot relate to the common person and their struggles, if you've never been in the middle class, if you've never been a working class person, how can you legislate on their behalf? We seem to think that if rich people lead us, like wealthy, crazy wealthy people, that if we select them and if we elect them, that they're going to make us rich too. No, they're not. They're going to exploit you. We get to a point in this country where wealth is created by exploiting other people's low wages. And when we elect people, if you're wealthy, it is exceptionally rare. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I know plenty of rich people that if they had the opportunity, they'd give it all away. But to think that very, very wealthy people are going to give you the keys to success is ridiculous. We think that they have all sorts of great business acumen. If you elect someone who's good in business, you know what they're probably good at? Exploiting poor people, paying low wages, maintaining horrible working conditions. These are not the people that are fit to lead a nation whose middle class is shrinking. And they are a very small minority. There's a very, very small number of them. Something like 10% of the people in this country control better than 60 or 70% of the nation's wealth and assets. And those are the people we often pick to lead us. They're just going to exacerbate the wealth gaps. We need to get back to electing working class folks. Now, here's the thing. If you're a working class person and you get rich, okay. But don't start wealthy and be out of touch with actual costs rising and the rising cost of health care. If you're not afraid of your costs going up because you don't know if your paycheck is going to last, you may not be a good representative of the people. Because here's the other thing that I know. Very wealthy people need zero government representation. Get it out. They don't need anything. What do they need? Nothing. Their taxes get cut even when they don't ask for it. If you are wealthy, you don't care really who's in the White House. You're going to be fine either way. You don't care who controls Congress. Wealthy people don't need political representation. There's people who are not wealthy that need to try and get options and opportunity through policy. Wealthy people don't need anything. And I don't think that we should continue down that path of thinking that the richer somebody is, the better representation they will be for us. No, they're not. Trump is a wonderful example, especially for those that voted for him because he's a businessman. But look at his businesses. Some of his business dealings got him 34 felonies. That is not the kind of businessman that you want to elect. Somebody that knows and understands what it's like to struggle. If Trump struggles, it's because he can't overturn a Supreme Court ruling or because people are disagreeing with him. His worries and concerns are a lot different than regular, average, everyday working people. And by voting for him and those like him, they're not going to help you. And if they have, please tell me how. How are you better off with him being in office right now than when good old Joe Biden was in office, cutting them COVID checks? All right, guys. Well, I do appreciate you all. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Mike Totoritis, who is the City of Milwaukee Health Commissioner. Go get a flu shot, everybody, because the winter is coming, and don't get the flu. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next time.
Come in with straight truth.
Everything got a message. I'll say this. Y'all